I was upset about a blog. It's like, Kurt Metzger needs to shut up.
Yeah.
And I was busy fighting that, and I didn't think about it, okay? And the blog, by the way, was written in the year of our goddess. So you can imagine. So my mistake is taking that personally, where the person who wrote that, I don't even need to mention their name. They're lucky that I even address them at all because they're such a nobody. Okay, so it's baiting me to make a response, which I did, and then you get to turn around and act. Once I respond to your nonsense blog, now they get to turn around and go, look how he harassed me, and blah, blah, blah. It's bait, and I fell for bait from a group of nothings.
Take 7. Welcome to Ari Shaffir Skeptic Tank. I'm Ari Shaffir. You guys, okay, I'm trying to do this intro. You need this intro. Normally, you can take it or leave it. This one you need. It's going to be context because we just got right into it. Kurt Metzger's my guest today. Kurt Metzger is one of the best comics in the country. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, like, if he's not in your top 20, you're crazy. You're just, I mean, maybe you just don't like that type of humor, but like, I'd say top 10. And you got to put Burr. Who would you put up there, arguably, that I would accept as an answer over Kurt Metzger? Burr, CK, Jeffries, Rogan, Diaz, Tom Segura, Jeselnik, Bamford. Could that be it? Big J, maybe. No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he's probably top 10. Anyway, yeah, if you ever get a chance to see Kurt Metzger on stage, he's just fucking killer, you guys. That's not what I'm going to talk about today. Here's what I'm going to talk about. He's a Facebook guy. He uses Facebook really well. He does this thing where he'll say inflammatory stuff or objectionable stuff, and then he'll get people's responses from it, and that's how he'll form material a lot. And he'll just get people to fucking jump on him a lot. Let's turn that off. He loves Facebook. He's almost addicted to it. I've seen like multiple periods days where he won't go 6 hours without posting something, and I'm like, when are you sleeping? And I was in Edinburgh. You guys, you need this context. I'm just telling you, you need it. Also, generally, by the way, I'm going to just say this while you're listening. If you ever wanted to hear the music on the podcast and want to know what it is, go to the website, arithegreat.com. I put them all up there. If you ask me, generally, I won't answer because it means you're never listening to these intros. I say it every like 3 or 4 weeks. I put links to YouTube videos so you don't have to like just see the thing. You just click on it and be like, boom, you'll listen to the song right there. Anyway. So Kurt goes crazy on Facebook. He likes to get people to get, mad at him, whatever. And then I was in Edinburgh, Scotland. I was sitting around in my flat. That's what they call apartments there. Joe DeRosa was around somewhere upstairs. I started noticing that Kurt was going off on this rape case in New York. From what I could gather at the time, there was a UCB comic. UCB, you might know, is the comedy club that can't afford to pay comics for any performers, really, but also especially to me, comics for stand-up comedy. They just can't make ends meet. So whatever, that's fair. If you can't make enough money to survive paying comics, then I guess you can't pay comics. The weird thing is that after that policy, then they ended up opening a third location. That's quite an expansion for someone who can't afford to pay comics. And then, then they open up a fourth location. That's, wow. They're barely getting by. But anyway, so there was a comic who they said was banned from the UCB because the rumor was that he had raped another UCB performer. And the name came out of the guy. Kurt told me a lot of stuff, and he was like, this was told to me in confidence, so I'm not going to break any of that confidence. I've actually heard some stuff about the details of it from other sources. I'm still not going to break the confidence, because if I say it here, it's going to sound like Metzger told me. So the rumor, anyway, from what I was gleaning from Edinburgh, from Scotland, from, a world away, was that this guy had raped someone, and then people started saying, we got him banned from the UCB. There was an internal investigation the UCB performed, and which Kurt later said in this episode, he's like, that's not what happened, but he got banned. And Kurt went on and said, that's ridiculous. You can't just ban somebody, kind of tarnish his name on some rumor. He's like, what happened? What was the rape? Like, who did he rape? And so a few people were like, just trust us. And he goes, well, no, I can't trust you to banish someone from the comedy community. I need some detail. I can't just say, okay, he's gone. And then other people start saying, well, I've heard he's done this a lot. And like, what do you mean you've heard? I know plagiarism cases get out of hand that way, where somebody's like, I heard he did it. I heard he stole too. I heard he steals material. And then you realize you all heard it from the same source. So it goes from one person to 4 to 12. And people are like, I heard from 12 people. And it's like, but it all traces back to the same source. One guy who says, yeah, I have a bit about a deer. And that guy has a bit about a deer too. So Kurt was like, one of his points was, you should go to the police. You should go to the cops, not the UCB. That's not the way to get a fucking, what's the word? Not a victim, the other one. Predator. Yeah, sorry. A predator off the streets. That's not the way to do it, by the UCB banning. That means he's just still around other places. And then people started jumping on Kurt and saying, well, it's really hard for the women to go to the police. They don't get treated with respect all the time, which is true. A lot of places don't. A lot of places do. It's not across the board. And Kurt was like, if you're advising women to not go get help, you're making it worse. You're telling them to not go get help. He wasn't yelling at the victims of the rape. He was yelling at the other people who were saying, yeah, don't go to the cops. I've heard they're terrible. It got him in, I don't want to say hot water, but people started talking about it. I mean, I heard about it in Scotland. My friends would come and they were like, what do you think about this Kurt Metzger thing? It was all on Kurt's Facebook wall. He wasn't going to anywhere else. He was just doing it on his own. And he kept on, and he kind of started antagonizing the people who would disagree with him. He's like, you're fucking idiots. I'm not going to back down. His point was, too, he's like, I think the guy's guilty. I just think he should be punished beyond getting banished from the UCB. And then, as what happens a lot of time, this senselessness, I mean, this is all covered in The Fountainhead. If you guys, any comic listening, read The Fountainhead. Senselessness starts. And people started brandishing Kurt a rape apologist, saying that he was saying it's okay to rape, which is like, I mean, it's just crazy. And then people would read these headlines, and then they would get mad. And then people start going after Amy Schumer, because Kurt writes for Mind of Ben Schumer. And he writes for that show, and and they said they were going after Amy and saying, hey, it's troubling. That's the words they use. It's troubling your relationship with Kurt. And she would just start blocking people. She's like, fuck you, get out of here. Who are you? Get out of here. And people are like, how can you block me? I'm just, giving you a real comment. I just want to know. And she's like, no, you're a fucking stranger. Beat it. Amy has no time for that garbage. She's friends with Kurt. She loves his writing, whatever. And so they kept after him. And then eventually Kurt told her, like, hey, kept after her. And Kurt told her, like, hey, you can fucking separate yourself from me. And she went online and was like, he doesn't work for me. The feminist right took that as a win. Like, we got him fired. But she really just meant, we're not in season right now. He's not my employee. It's not like that. I don't run a law firm. He worked for me for 8 weeks. And now he's on his own. And I'm probably going to hire him again when it's time. And she will, because he's a great writer. And he's also not apologizing for rape. He's super against rape. He's saying, we got to punish this guy properly. And he was also saying, I can't go off a rumor. I need some sort of details in order to tell this guy, fuck you forever. It's a fine line, you guys. It's a really fine line. The problem is you don't want to make a rape victim have to go through it again, to have to tell everybody exactly what happened. But at the same time, Blackstone's theorem, I'd cover it in this. You can't just, on a rumor, tell somebody they're gone forever. You need some details. So how do you get those details without putting somebody through something? I don't know the answer. And it's true. From everything I've heard, women going to the cops, it's not a high percentage of wins. I know many people go to the cops. That's something like 1.7% of all rape cases end up in a conviction. Of all rapes, end up in a conviction. Now, that's pretty terrible. I will say that I've seen other stats of 3.2% of all thefts end in conviction. I think overall the cops are just terrible. But if I get something stolen from me, I don't mind telling people about it. I don't feel shame forever. And if I go in and ask the cops, like, hey, how come I got something stolen from me? They're not going to say, what were you wearing? They're not going to, I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard to go in there. And I will say this. Some cops treat women with respect that they deserve. This is not like a fucking Black Lives Matter thing. I don't know the deal. I just know women aren't getting the justice they want. And so what happens is when you don't get justice, you end up taking matters into your own hands. That's what just is going to happen in life. So these lynch mobs start, the internet lynch mobs. The E-rage starts and people get fucking super, turned on to fucking ruining somebody's life. I saw a guy taking a picture in front of a Star Wars poster. And he goes, ooh, that's a good one, or something like that. And he was taking a selfie, but it looked like to some woman that he was taking a picture of her children. And she snapped a picture of him, put it online, and said, look at this predator. He went home to his gay partner, nothing to do with it. His partner was like, oh, you're in a lot of hot water. And he's like, what? For what? He goes, for taking a picture of a kid. He goes, what kid? What are you talking about? He's taking a selfie. This guy got shamed, almost lost his job because his fucking rage police started. They never understand context. They just see, predators out there. They don't even read the article. Everyone just sees talking points. Anyway, so that's what's going to happen. It's what it's going to keep happening. And so Kurt was like, let's just slow down on the E-rage. Let's find out some details before we fucking virtually lynch someone. Some of the songs in this episode are going to be about lynch mobs. The first one, Robert Johnson, is the one. Not the last one, but anyway. So Kurt got in a lot of hot water. Schumer separated herself from him a little bit. Just publicly, not really. And everyone was talking about it. Everyone was talking about how Kurt Metzger is a rape apologist. So now he has that on his fucking quote-unquote record. You can go on his Facebook and maybe see what he wrote. I don't know if it's still up there. But he wanted to come on Skeptic Tank and sort of explain himself. I'll tell you this right now. I interrupted him way too much. He was speaking a mile a minute. I was trying to understand stuff or add. And when I did, it ended up distracting him and moving on to another point. I could tell he's already thought about this a lot. I mean, after the podcast, that he's thought about this a lot and he had stuff that he was ready to say. And I interrupted him far too often. If you tell me that, it just means you weren't listening to the introduction. I already know I did. Or you were, and you're still telling me anyway, so go fuck yourself. I already know. Yeah, I did it too much. So we did it in my apartment for a little bit. Then his girlfriend came over, Karen Margolis, who's on has her own podcast called Crass to Mouth. She's a friend of mine too. I like her a lot. Listen, I've been on their podcast actually, maybe the first episode. I don't know if it's still up. And Kurt, you can find on Race Wars. Which is on Sirius XM and his own podcast. It's great. They do it with Sherrod Small. I was on like last week. So anyway, we did it in my apartment. Then we went in the cab and kept talking more over to Race Wars, and then that's it. So it's an interesting episode. I want to do one on just E-rage in general. I have a couple people in mind that I want to get, and I just want to talk about the effects that it has on someone. So I will be doing that in the future. I'm also going to talk to a rape victim, a full-on, straight, quote-unquote, classic-style rape victim. I have one in mind. So I want to hear about it. Also, I want to do a podcast about periods. But there's two girls I know who are, two women, sorry, Kate Willett. Two women I know who have a podcast. And I was like, when people come to me, when comments come to me, it's like, hey, I want to do your podcast. I'm like, well, we need a topic. I don't know enough about you. We need a topic. And so then we have to find a topic. So I thought, I was like, what about periods? But then is it fucking demeaning to ask women to talk about their periods? Maybe I have to have someone who's already been on. That's what it is, where it's not all about your period. Anyway, so by the way, I'm going to be at the Bell House. I added one show in New York. The Bell House, October 18th in New York, in Brooklyn, New York. October 18th. I will be doing my new special, my new double special. I can't believe I wasn't going to do this in New York. I did it everywhere else. LA, Chicago, Seattle, every fucking major market except New York. So Bell House, October 18th, 8 p.m. Get tickets now at arithegreat.com. There will be, hopefully, a hunt for the edible. I've never done one of those in New York, so let's do it. Hunt for the edible. Follow me on Twitter, and right after the show, I'll throw out clues. We're going to have an intermission in that show because I'm going to get ready for the intermission I'm going to do during the taping. I'm doing something different, you guys. This episode is brought to you by, and then Austin, Texas, my special. November 2nd through the 5th. Get tickets now. Get tickets now. If you know people in Austin, let them know. Cool people in Austin. Let them know. November 2nd through the 5th. It's going to be a party. I've been delaying headlining Austin just so I could film my special there. I mean, it's been a year too long. But if I do this material, I don't want to go back and do it again. So, doing it. November 2nd through the 5th. Start getting tickets now. Stoners especially. I know we all wait. But guys, I'm getting more popular. So we got to do it. I get who we are. We're the type of people that show up to Star Wars opening week on Saturday night and go, 2 tickets to Star Wars, please. And they go, are you crazy? It's been sold out for a month. And you're like, oh, well, I'll see Bridget Jones' Diary 2 then. That's who we are. If I'm telling you, I'm getting more popular. Get tickets ahead of time. November 2nd to the 5th. Let's make it a fun party. So, this episode is brought to you by Blue Apron. BlueApron.com/skeptic. If you go there right now, you can order delicious meals. I just made one yesterday. What did I make yesterday? Here it is. Beef and shishito open-faced sandwich. God, it was good. All this stuff that help you cook. They give you ingredients. Like 1 cucumber. That's all I needed for the side salad. 1 cucumber. 1 tomato. A baguette. They tell you to toast it. I will tell you this. You need oil. You need olive oil on your own. You need salt and pepper on your own. And then you need pots and pans. I will tell you that the prep time and the cook time is a little bit off. It says prep time 15 minutes, cook time 15 to 25. Maybe if you got 2 people going. I mean, it is a meal for 2. That's a pretty good date night, too. BlueApron.com/skeptic. It's a pretty good date night to be able to fucking cook a meal. So you can get meals for 2, you can get meals for 5, you can get whatever. And they give you exactly that amount that you need. Yeah, if I had 2 people, I could have gotten this done in time. For sure. 2 people working. But you had to chop up the peppers, wash stuff. It ended up being 40 minutes of prep time and then 30 minutes of cook time. Yeah, it was about an hour 15 total. Still great. A fucking delicious meal. Watch Stranger Things. Have you guys heard about that show? I know. By the way, do you guys do this on Facebook? This is back into the episode. I know comedians do it, where someone will say something and then a big fucking argument erupts on their wall. Maybe the guy will get involved, maybe not. The guy who writes the post, person who writes the post. Do you guys do that in your accounting circle or your fucking college circle or, whatever? Your basketball league circle, whatever it is, among your friends. Do you guys do that on Facebook? I guess it's just all your friends combined. That's not politics. People start arguing. That's a normal Facebook thing, right? It drags you the fuck in. Kurt said he likes Facebook better than Twitter. He said just because geometrically, he goes, when you write something on Twitter and someone responds to you, their response takes up the same amount of space as your original post. You post, it's 1 inch by 3 inches. They respond 1 inch by 3 inches. But he told me once, on Facebook, you post, just a big post, and then they respond in a little bitty letters way down at the bottom where they're barely even seen. He has disdain. He has disdain for people commenting on the entertainment industry. It's kind of hilarious to see. It's kind of hilarious to see. He calls them pigeons, these people. And that's what I'm going to name the episode. I was going to call it Rape Apologist, but I'm calling it Pigeons. He'll explain exactly what a pigeon is to him. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I don't know what else to say about it. Don't forget to go to this episode is available on laughable.com, on iTunes, and on whatever else. If you have it's not available on Android, Laughable, but it is available on iPhone. It's a great app. Pick it up and listen to this podcast there, and you can find other people's stuff. So, like, if I post this, it'll be a link to Metzger's podcast on there. And that's it, you guys. Also by thefuzzle.com. No, Fuzzles? How is it? Thefuzzle.com. It's muzzles for your dog, for your shitty asshole dog. Let's start the episode, shall we? And by the way, I'd like to say thank you to all the people, again, who give me photoshops when I post on Twitter, like I need photoshops for an episode. Some cool semi-artists. I don't have enough money to pay because it's just a little small detail of the podcast. I don't make any money off it. And if I did make any money off that Photoshop, well, I just don't. I don't need anything major. I need someone to do 10 minutes of work to help me out. And it's fun. People respond. And then I post it and I put credits, their Twitter credits on the website, whoever makes it. So thank you for all those people who send stuff in. Even if I don't use yours, I usually just use one. Even if I don't use yours, still appreciate it. They still make me laugh, and they make the guests laugh too. If anybody wants to make photoshops for my special in Austin, November 2nd to the 5th at Cap City, I'll put those up on Instagram. Make sure to tell me your Instagram handle. I'll put them up one after another. I think I'm calling it Life. Splitting it up into 2 specials, just so you know. Childhood and adulthood. I might call it Life. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Thank you for the people who have done it. I really do appreciate it. And the end of the road tour is coming to an end. Got about a month left, and then I'm done on the road for a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start. Robert Johnson, take us in. Ari Shaffir Skeptic Tank. Episode 270, I don't know, 8. Let's say. Pigeons. With Mr. Kurt Metzger. Starts now. That's funny. All right, let's start. Somebody, Tripoli told me about some comic, I think in Chicago or something, who would do something like, he goes, his thing was like, why can't a woman can't be president? And he goes, the reason is, 1, because they're too emotional, and 2, because they're just kind of stupid. And all the girls go, boo, goes, yep, see, too emotional. And he just like uses their response against them.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Are we recording it?
Yeah.
Well, here's what makes me laugh, because of course you can have a woman president. I've always heard the thing, like, let's take the hackiest objection there is, which is they're going to get their period. Yeah. That's one that I don't even think is a real objection. I think that's just, like, in the Schumer writers' room, we thought that was an objection, but it's not in real life.
Nobody really cares. Like, yeah, they're going to get period. Who cares?
Just from experience of my mother working, I'll tell you this flat out, like, any woman can compartmentalize and pretty much do any man job without her womany shit getting involved at all.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say that for a fact. Because women compartmentalize. So any woman could do that, a man, quote unquote, man job, and it won't, any of that fear of how a woman will be isn't a part of it. What they'll do is compartmentalize, and then they'll come home and torture their loved ones. Yeah. Like pure professionalism on the job at all times.
Like those cops who come home with their wives.
Yeah, it's just she's going to come home and make the children and the man miserable. But of course women can do it. I mean, it's just like, I know from experience. Like my mom was top salesperson at her job.
Also, any woman running for president is too old to be still having their period.
And that, by the way, fantastic point.
What?
What woman of period age is going to be running for president?
Which 38-year-old woman is running for president? What are you talking about?
I mean, it's not even a chance.
In their 50s and shit.
I have but I've never had any, even like when I was religious, I never had a thing of like, oh, a woman is, like, it's the same difference. There's not like a fucking better suited or, I don't know who in this day and age still has that in their head. I don't know, man, because it's in London. We still have it a little bit where it's like, I don't want that leading me. It's like me and Rogan sometimes would turn to each other when there's a pilot gets on the loudspeaker.
and says, "Ladies and gentlemen," and it's a woman. We both turn and we go like, "Oh fuck, we didn't sign on."
Really?
As a joke. As a joke.
That I only do that if it sounds like they're black. No, but that's the other thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, wake up.
First of all, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all to me. The pilot, sex, whatever. Why is the pilot even speaking at all?
Yeah.
Every goddamn time I get on a plane and I'm like plugging into that little TV and just waiting to pass
it's gotta
out.
pause. Fucking quit pausing me. I don't care what you're saying.
And honest, like I hope it. I'd like it to be a fucking trans voice over the speaker just for a change of pace. So I don't have to hear, "Hi, I'm Jerry. I'm your pilot. Your co-pilot today is Tom Jones. He plays keyboards on the side. This isn't his main thing." So there's going to be a little bit of turbulence, and they tell you like all these fucking pilot terms, like that I don't give a shit about, or like
no one cares.
Yeah, like dude, I don't.
Let me watch Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's worse than a goddamn Uber driver telling me about the road.
It should be the stewardesses or the go-betweens. They're like the Secretary of State.
Yeah.
You don't hear the fucking guy talking.
Yeah, for all I know, a robot flies the plane, a qualified robot. I don't want to know anything about you, and I don't want to thank you on the way out like
You ever
I'm
see them
supposed
stand
to.
there like a comic after a show?
Yeah, I'm sick of it.
Waiting for it.
Goddamn pilot. Hey, have a great day. I'm like, I hate you. That's why I feel like coming out. I'm like, I expected getting me here alive was the least you could do, you piece of shit.
What more could they do?
Yeah.
Bring peanuts?
I don't know. Have blankets again that aren't $7.
Yeah, what happened to the blankets and pillows? Can I get a pillow? Shut up. You shut up.
That's a first class thing.
I try to steal them sometimes when I'm walking through.
Oh.
I see them like, I better get this now or they're never going to give it to me.
One time the pilot came back to personally yell at me for vaping in the bathroom.
Did he really?
First time I ever got caught with my dumb vape.
Pilot did it?
The pilot, they made a huge deal about it. Like, I had no idea it was even going to be an issue.
Diaz smoked weed vape in his seat.
Oh, yeah, no, I do that. But in the bathroom, you can't because the sensors are so sensitive. They made them to test vapes. Hotel rooms do that too now.
You ever heard John Belushi? Who's the least talented, more alive, Belushi? John or Jim?
I'd say pound for pound, James has Belushi produced more than John.
Produced more.
Yeah, I mean, on John,
that's Seth Rogen mentality.
I understand.
Like, more comes out.
But like, why is John so much better? Okay, Blues Brothers awesome. The samurai character still to this day don't know why it's funny.
Animal House.
Okay, Animal House. James Belushi's got. If you stack up all the joy James Belushi's brought to my life,
with James or whatever, the one where he catches the fucking home run in the Chicago.
Hey, listen, even Life with James, if that's the name of
That's
it.
definitely not the name of the show. Now that I think about it.
Even Life with the other remaining Belushi, I believe is the correct title. Even that adds up to more thrills than all of John Belushi's work. I say John Belushi overrated. Somebody's going to be like, this will be my most controversial thing I've ever said.
This will be the one that gets you the most trouble.
But honest to God, they bring up that stupid samurai character as if it's the most groundbreaking thing, him doing
chopping a dick off a fly.
Jap face. Please let this be the last time.
That's whatever people.
A cis white man plays a samurai. Please.
Whenever people shit on me for one already. Whenever people shit on me for hating Bill Hicks, not thinking he was funny. Not hating him, just not thinking he was a real comic.
Yeah.
They're like, what about this clip? I'm like, yeah, there's no laughs in that one, man.
Okay, so
any clip they show me is like, yeah, there's no laughs in this clip.
It's funny you should say that because I always bring this up to Barry Crimmins, who I talk to every day now because
every day he's your fucking parole officer.
Yeah, he has power of attorney over my Facebook posts.
Does he really?
It's for real because I can't trust it. First of all, Facebook, I already knew was like my diary. Yeah. It was like you can look at my diary because if you look at the trouble I got in, it's not me harassing anyone. It's me on my own wall saying what I think, which I should be allowed
on your own wall.
Okay, I didn't go to anybody else's. I've done that one time. This is the only time I've ever done that. When I was first on Facebook, I made fun of the Skep chick. Her name's the Skep chick. That's her online name, and it was a mistake. Like there was no reason to go in her comments and make fun of this dumb thing that
you went after her, towards her.
Right, yeah, I made fun of, and it must have looked insane to her because it was like,
who are you?
6 months after I read. It was at the time I was new to Facebook. I had read some article that I thought was ridiculous. You know what I mean? This is like in the beginning of me being online, thinking everything pertains to me that doesn't.
Yeah,
which is what everyone
feels. Yeah,
right. Which everybody feels. So I'm no better than anyone, but I'm also no worse.
You just got more experience now, so you know better now.
Okay, but that was years ago. And that's the only time, and I was out of line to do it, regardless of how dumb her thing was. I'm the one that was out of line in that case, but unfortunately that's like not someone you can apologize to, because then they're going to make hay out of it. And then I saw a blog appear about me after I did it. I'm like, oh, look at what happens when you do. So, whatever. So I'm on my own wall all the time whenever I did anything. Okay?
You also had this thing of like being able to write material by saying, here, I'll just say a bunch of inflammatory stuff. And people go, oh, that's actually not the case. You're like, cool, that's going in the act for sure.
Right.
Oh, cool, that's going in. Oh,
well, I was working it out online in front of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a non-matter place like Facebook.
Right. Apparently, though, Facebook matters heavily. And this is the thing that's upsetting me, is because, like, all my points, I actually spoke to one of, a victim of what's his name? We'll call him.
Hold on. What's your take on naming people and stuff like that?
Well, it's a dumb idea. Like, you can get a lawsuit going. People think this is a great idea to try rape in social media. It's not. And it causes a lot of problems. And by the way, I didn't have the whole story when I yelled, but now that I do, the only thing that I apologize for this repeatedly, and I have no problem doing it, is any rape victim who felt like I was attacking them or I was shaming them, that, like, I feel terrible about that. I hope you don't think that. I was not directing anything at any victim. Yeah. I can see how certain people who want to get me, which is
there are people out there who are looking for you specifically to fuck up so they can grab you.
And that one whose name I don't say because she seems to want to be a barnacle on my tiny coattails forever.
Hold on. Which one? Okay.
And by the way, that one, I won't say her name, but every time there's an article about me, I don't know if you noticed the shitstorm, where about 20 articles about me where about basically no one besides the New York Times actually spoke to me. They all spoke to people that have never met me.
From right now for this Facebook thing?
Yeah, the last shitstorm, if you Google my name and look at the articles, at no point am I spoken to, asked for clarification. They only speak to some blogger that wants me, who literally wants me to not be able to pay my rent.
Yeah.
Now, I've never worried about my career from this. I mean, you've been in the same spot as I have.
It won't affect my career.
If anything, it helps my career. I had no issue with that. It ends up
actually helping.
It did upset me to be framed as like I'm pro-rape just because I feel like maybe you shouldn't try it on. Just because I think this social media mob is nothing resembling they think it's a form of democracy, the people that do this.
Yeah.
Where it's really you're just a lynch mob, but
because the problem is, what I saw is like most of the people writing on your Facebook wall and stuff like that are like, fuck you, I know. It's like, oh, you don't know either. You just heard the same rumors that everyone heard.
Right, and that's the saving grace here.
And you're going to string this guy up.
No one bothers to read anything. So the articles bashing me, no one read. People only read. That's why clickbait headlines were invented. And when I even try to do material about this situation, even doing this now with you, people are going to be like, what is he talking about? And a week later on stage, I couldn't even make jokes because the crowd didn't know what I was doing.
Because the crowd had no idea.
It's not even a lynch mob in that respect because no one gives a shit. The only people who give a shit are the people trying to ride Mike and Amy's. If the fact that Amy was brought into this, Amy Schumer, is let's ridiculous.
Yeah. Maybe we should back up and talk about what happened
I feel like I'd rather have people wonder what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I should do this in the intro, just like set it all up in the intro.
You set it up in the intro, dude, because honestly,
that's what I'll do.
It's like I don't want to harp on it. Like my points were solid. However, certainly I have an anger problem that was on Facebook too much, and
oh, you're for sure on Facebook too much. I don't know about anger problem, but there are times where I've looked at your feed and there is not a 6-hour block where you're not on, which means you're waking up to piss, getting on Facebook for 30 minutes, then going back to sleep.
It's a binge thing, and also I have racing thoughts. So it's basically like I let people look at my diary, which I shouldn't have done. Even Anne Frank, this is the joke I do about it, even fucking Anne Frank had to be dead before her diary came out, and even then her father knew to edit out all the N-words and times she said faggot. You didn't get to read her unedited diary. You had to read the edited one because her father...
This faggot Chaim was over here trying to...
She was like, my friend Meep is a faggot, I hate her. And her father's like, better not let that... Because even a Holocaust victim... Even a Holocaust victim can't have their diary out without you little pigeons judging. I don't even say civilian anymore. You know, I call non-comic civilians.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I've changed it to pigeon.
Why?
Well, because this is what I realized on Facebook, because I've been writing much better shit now since I'm not breaking up my ideas on Facebook into little crumbs. That's what Facebook turned into for me, was me taking my own talent and breaking it up into little breadcrumbs that I feed to pigeons.
So what are you not doing now?
Ingrate fucking pigeons who then complain and shit on me and make their squawky pigeon noises. That's all your noises, every one of you that got upset. While you shit from the fucking crumbs I fed you. So no, I don't feed the pigeons anymore like an old man. I don't break up my talent that way.
What do you mean
anymore.
you don't break it up? What do you do?
I'm too good for you on Facebook. That's what I'm telling to you, the Facebook reader. Especially if you had thoughts that, how dare he? How dare you look at my fucking wall when I told you to get the fuck off
Yeah,
it?
you just say a lot of that. Like,
I mean,
like
I
it,
couldn't
please
have
leave.
repeated
Please walk
enough.
away.
I don't want any of you there.
The funny
So
thing
you're
is-
lucky you were permitted to view inside my mind at all.
Yeah. Any headline about you or about that stuff that was going on, it was never like, here's a good analysis of all the tweets he's written over the last 2 weeks. It's only just like, here, look at this one thing he said.
Right.
And it's like, well, that means you're
Right.
intentionally.
And if you just read what I wrote and you didn't read all the posts, it was
Yeah.
out of context.
Or you go like, oh yeah, that's really what I say. Oh yeah, I say this.
You know what? I don't have
I
to
say
defend,
rape victim
I'm not
shit.
even going to defend shit anymore because what I said, if you didn't read the whole context, you got, who gives a fuck what your feeling was? Now, the reason I apologized was, well, I felt bad was people who backed me up. From the start, there were women back on my side, and specifically women, okay, were backing me up.
And Ari.
But this is the woman thing, especially because this got framed as me versus feminism, which
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm very vocal that I am a feminist. I believe in equality wholeheartedly, and I have no problem claiming that phrase. Okay, I am against what I call big sister, which is this thing of like, let's get him fired.
Leave it. Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
I
get
am
him
against.
fired.
Yeah, which they think is a kind of democracy, big sister, but that's not feminism. The concept of feminism is fine to me.
It's militantism.
But what really got to me, or really like hurt, and I felt this, was even people who agreed with me, okay, both male and female, agreed with even the harshest rhetoric I had on there.
Yeah.
Also got raped. they were like, I'm a rape victim, and I agree, blah blah blah. And it struck me how many, like, Jesus Christ, everyone
has been raped.
Everyone got raped. Did I just miss a fucking, and that's where when I think about this, the idea of shaming, because there's no such thing as that. I can't shame you, and you fuckers can't shame me, just so you know. I can't be shamed. That got beat out of me at a young age. So shaming is something you do to yourself. Now, when people say you shamed me, what they mean is you have triggered the shame I already feel about something that I shouldn't have to feel. And I understand that. So I understand your shorthand is, don't shame me. But I literally can't shame anyone.
Oh, right. Like as if you see my stupid suits I have sometimes?
Yeah.
So if I wore that to the
And
comedy
I mock
cellar.
you, yeah.
Yeah, if I wore that to the comedy cellar and Keith goes, you fucking look like a whatever.
Yeah, he's not shaming you.
Right. I'll be like, that's funny, man, but I actually think it looks quite good. So.
That's right. And no one, and you've always been very, as much as I have tried to quote shame you about your colorful outfits, you feel you got a cloud puking up a rainbow shirt right now.
Yes.
Because you know goddamn well you can't be shamed. But unfortunately, civilians, or as I call them now, pigeons, they all seem to believe in this, especially millennial pigeons. They really, really believe that they can be shamed.
Yeah.
In fact, all their self-esteem is based on what you think. So that's your little world that I'm not a part of, but I get it. For this purpose of this argument, I'll say, yes, I'm sorry for shaming rape victims. What I'm sorry for doing is saying anything that would make someone feel ashamed of something they should feel no shame for. If you got raped, that's literally no part of that is your fault.
Right.
Okay? There's not one bit of that where you should feel ashamed when you did nothing to deserve that happening.
So why
to
do
you.
people feel shame for it then?
Because of two things. One, if you're on the right-winger side, there's a religious aspect and you know from going to Hogschwartz, as we call it.
Yeah.
And I know from being a minister, the Bible is where 9/10 of this bullshit comes from.
Just like in some Muslim countries where if you report a rape, they're like, that means you had sex before marriage,
Right.
so you're going to jail.
Okay, and it's all connected. So the Jews and the Christians are no better.
Yeah.
The other half is on the lefty feminist side where they extol victimhood as if it's a badge of honor to be a victim.
Man, it really is these
And
days.
a lot of people, right, and a lot of people don't want to be thought of as a victim, and they hate that idea. And they'd rather call themselves stupid than be called a victim.
Right.
Okay? So that's where the left sucks.
Victim is out of your control. Stupid is like, yeah, whatever, I fucked up.
Yeah, stupid is more in your control, and people don't, and people that are legitimate victims don't want to claim, and people that aren't victims want to claim victimhood. It's fucked up. But what I think is even what you might consider a hysterical feminist rape statistic, right? Like 1 in 5 on college campuses. I think that's probably just the men. who've been raped. And the women, the numbers are way higher because I'm looking around noticing how many people I know that something happened to.
I say 1 in 4, but I think that includes.
I think you're lowballing it, and that's why I don't understand why anyone feels any shame, because so many people, I believe, have been fucking raped. So why is anyone feeling any shame at all when it's happened? So that's the thing to examine. Like, why is this fucked up? Because unfortunately, when someone lies about it, okay, which I think is infrequent.
A victim lies about it?
When someone lies about being raped.
Oh, right.
Well, then you're not a victim if you lie.
Oh, right.
Those are very memorable. It's not a lot, but it's very memorable when it happens, and that sticks out.
Like the people who shoot black people, cops who shoot black guys, are super minority.
Right. Cops are that's a separate thing, but
just any minority where it's like, or terrorist attacks, like most days of the week, we're totally safe.
There you go. That's a better way to put it. Because the minority thing, I think you're going to have just stories of cops treating you unfairly, and there's not one person I know who that doesn't happen to.
Right.
Now, but just rape wise. There's so many people got raped that it all blends together, okay?
It was almost passé, you mean?
It's not passé. It's just it doesn't stick out as much as someone lying about it, okay? Anyway, and have you ever had that experience of being lied about, okay?
What's his name did?
Where someone claims you raped him and you didn't. If you're and I know it's only 2%. Well, those numbers aren't reliable either. And by the way, if it is 2% and you're part of that 2%, it's a pretty fucking important number to you. So just keep that in mind. That's what I was arguing against, was this orthodoxy by a gang of who thinks that you should be punished for your thoughts. Okay.
Punished for your thoughts? What do you mean?
On Facebook, there's a group that I call Big Sister that they want you punished.
Because you think, women should go to the cops, or women should do this.
And by the way,
we
should go to the cops.
We shouldn't string somebody up without knowing the facts.
Right.
And they go, fuck you.
Here's what I'm saying. And you're like,
these aren't actions. I haven't done anything.
If you go on social media to try a rape, you're doing nothing.
They're going after that guy.
No, you're doing nothing. It's taking the college campus bullshit where they have a little, some student government organization decides to expel you for rape. I watched a Vice special about it where they go, why? They go, well, rape's very hard to prosecute, so that's why we do it here on campus. No, here's what you do. You throw a bone to your campus feminists by pretending you're doing something. Well, while simultaneously covering up a problem because you don't want parents to know that so many people could get raped at your school.
Right.
So the colleges are full of shit. They're giving a little bit of power to these like groups on campus that are doing. And meanwhile, the worst that's going to happen to a rapist is they get expelled, and everyone's okay with this. And you want to
send them off into the world.
You want to export the college campus bullshit into the real world or the world of social media. And now that's what we're going to do. We're going to be like. So what set me off was reading this thing that an internal UCB now. Investigation has determined blah blah blah. Now that I have all the facts of that, it's not like at all what it sounded like. That was something that was posted as a mistake that should have never been posted.
What was?
That there was an internal UCB investigation. That was someone's specific wording choice that was unfortunate.
Who's?
I can't say. I'm not going to say, but whoever it was.
No, what type of person?
A friend of a person involved in the case. Okay. Who got a little overzealous. Now, the problem with not saying any details of the story is if all I hear is, we've decided this guy is a rapist. Psst, pass it on. This guy's a rapist officially.
Yeah.
If I don't know any details of what happened and that's all I'm getting is, all you need to know is UCB plus a woman said it.
Right. Trust me, this guy's a problem. And
that's not good enough.
Whoa, what do you mean?
That's actually a huge problem, okay? And I don't like that being a precedent, okay?
Do you know Blackstone's theorem?
No.
Better one man should what is it? Better 100 guilty men go free than one innocent man goes to prison.
Right. Okay. Exactly. Okay. That's fine. Same thing way I feel about the death penalty. Okay. Now,
what if we fuck up? You're like, yeah, but that guy's a murderer. It's like, I know.
People
but what if we fuck up and some innocent guy didn't do anything gets electrocuted?
I brought this up because I spoke to who I believe is a victim of the person. Okay. Now, I spoke to the person that they accused initially. That's how this all kicked off. I talked to him on the phone.
The person they accused?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did he say about it?
He told me a very obvious lie, which I won't break his confidence, but in retrospect, what he told me is an obvious lie that I should have seen. I was upset about a blog. It's like, Kurt Metzger needs to shut up.
Yeah. And
I was busy fighting that, and I didn't think about it, okay? And the blog, by the way, was written in the year of our goddess. So my mistake is taking that personally where the person who wrote that, I don't even need to mention their name. They're lucky that I even address them at all because they're such a nobody. Okay, so it's baiting me to make a response, which I did, and then you get to turn around and act. Once I respond to your nonsense blog, now they get to turn around and go, look how he harassed me, and blah, blah, blah. It's bait, and I fell for bait from a group of nothings.
Right.
The people that do this online, that do like takedowns and little blogs.
Somebody was saying, like, I defended you once. Some girl was like, he was harassing some girl. I'm like, oh no, he asked her to be on his podcast.
I've never harassed anyone. And the only people making any accusations about me online, by the way, there's one of these people spreads around that I choke and beat women, which I have no record. I'm not a domestic abuser of any kind. I made a hyperbolic statement in a Facebook comment. Not even a post, a comment once 7 years ago. Yeah. And these liars go around online trashing my reputation.
Why do they hate you so much?
Because the one woman I said as a joke who attacked Sam Morril for some rape joke.
You said she's not real?
I said she's a character that we made up, and it spread around that she's not a real person, which I think is a clever joke. I've never made a fake profile of anyone. I don't do that. I fight with those people, or I used to fight with those trolls too.
I made a fake profile once to spy on an ex-girlfriend who had a private MySpace account. So I made a whole MySpace account, but I didn't want to just have it blank. So I added like 100 people. Like I had to have a bunch of friends, and like had some comments on me. So I had to wait like 2 months. Yeah. But to make pictures of a nondescript person, I just looked at pictures of Jen Kirkman. Yeah, I found like 8 or 9 pictures of a cute girl, and I'm telling you right now, I made that whole Facebook page, MySpace page in like an hour. I got so many comments from dudes saying I'm so witty and how funny I am.
Right.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, well, it's MySpace days too. Yeah. I've never done anything like that. I did this one prank, which I think is funny as shit. It's an easily corrected thing. I think it's a Jonathan Swift level.
Turned her into a made-up person.
I said, okay, we're making a point about free speech. This person doesn't exist. Yeah. That's all I did. And this person I found out, and you can look it up. She has a borderline personality disorder and wrote about having to be committed, which she claimed. Her name's Sadie Doyle. Fuck it, I'll say her name. Look up Sadie Doyle. I had to be committed. Just Google it. Yeah. It says it's written by her. The article's still up. She claims it's a lie. Blah blah blah. But you wrote it, sweetheart. It's up. And it's all about her. And so a borderline personality, they take a grudge a little too far. Okay? So this psychopath has been dogging me, and that's how this thing became so big. And just so you know, sweetheart, you can't get me fired. I'm fine. My career's fine. I'm just at the Emmys with Amy. You literally have done nothing but boost my name. I hope you've gotten what you need out of using my name, but I've never domestically abused anyone.
Why do they say that?
Because I made a comment
or something.
I made a comment 7 years ago that I over hyperbolized about choking an ex, which I didn't. I didn't even do that. My ex is even like, why do you exaggerate?
No, why do they hate you? It ain't that. They found that after they already hated you.
No, I know, because this psychopath, Sadie Doyle, combed through my Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's the one that stuck. She found me saying the N-word for kicks and tried to get me with that, but she couldn't.
And she was mad at you because you were defending
I said she didn't exist.
Sam against
Sam Morril. Yeah, because I was defending Sam Morril. So it was me sticking my neck out for comics, which nobody asked me to do. There's no need for me to do that. Yeah, but
we always end up doing that. The funny thing is, too, Sam Morril, they were like shitting on him for a rape joke. And then in the end, like he was super helpful to a rape victim. Like,
to Beth. Yeah, he's the one that helped her go to the cops and all that.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. It's not that easy to go to the cops. And I was very glib about saying, like,
you should go to the cops, not that
you should go to the cops, but all the reform needs to be laid not at worrying about if Game of Thrones has too many rape scenes.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit about that? It should all be lobbying the police to handle that better. Oh, that's probably Karen.
She's coming over.
Yeah, pause it. Yeah, she'd bring it. She come with me to the thing.
It's fucking goddamn UPS or FedEx. All they do is buzz every single fucking thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're so annoying. And you go over there like, what? Like, FedEx? I'm like, is it for me?
Oh my lordy lord.
It's just annoying. You're trying to hook up with a girl here or something, or more likely, masturbate.
What were we even talking about?
Okay, so say going after why the women in general hate you. It's not just saying.
Oh no, it's not women in general. It's just certain
It's the militant feminists.
There's listen in comedy. No one who knows me, who's a woman in comedy, like who's ever met me, can say I'm cruel to women in comedy. I'm not. I'm extremely supportive of.
It was funny. I saw that article about your ex wrote.
Which one?
Because everyone was shitting on men so hard, and the ukulele comic.
Oh, Jessica Delfino.
Yeah, and she goes.
I even defended her.
Yeah, and she goes, and she took a lot of abuse for it. But her article was like, "Listen, guys, I know we keep saying that men are horrible to women in comedy, but like,
and they all turned on her.
And I've only experienced super helpful men in comedy. I don't see what you're talking about. Occasionally, you get a creep.
The women were mean to her,
but generally,
right?
Guys have been my nicest allies, and women have been the meanest to me.
Right, and that's because there's a lot of these women that want to put themselves. It's not. Listen, right now. I'm lucky because a lot of women backed me up and have hired me, and you know, I have good.
And Schumer never fired you.
No.
Why'd she write? That's funny when she wrote like Kurt doesn't work for me, just because we're out of season right now. Because they were
lobbying her. Here's what's fucked up, but me and Amy are good. Like she's a dear friend that I'm not. Nothing like I told her I'm like, look, you have my permission to do like don't worry about me if you got to say anything to help yourself. She's doing a book tour, and these animals were coming at her. And now, if they were true feminists, they should just be happy that a woman made it. Okay,
yeah.
Like Amy raised herself up to be like huge, and you should be as a woman, you should be proud of her. Instead, they treat her like she's like oh, she's some mainstream garbage feminist, and I'm the real feminist, and blah blah blah. And then these pieces of shit went after her. I don't work for her.
I like
She's
how
not
the blogs were like people were like, hey, why you let this Kurt Metzger loose? What's he doing? And then she'd be like, ugh, blocked, get away from here. And they're like, I'm allowed to say my piece. You shouldn't block me for that. And they don't understand, like, okay, she's just a person. You're a stranger going after a person in a harsh manner.
It's a turf
Your introduction is, hey, you should do this. It's like, ugh,
because they imagine that like anything a woman does is their turf.
It's theirs.
They own it. Like people who have no talent, they love activist culture.
Yeah.
Okay, because the communism of it appeals to them because they have no talent.
Yeah.
So if you're a woman who has zero talent, you can blend in with all women.
Yeah.
And now you're not a nobody, which is what you are. You are women.
Yeah.
And someone like Amy, who's very talented, who stands out, she better be raising you up too. And if she's not bringing you up personally, then she's got to pay. That's their mentality.
Right.
Like, well, I'm a woman. Why don't I have everything Amy has? Just because she's achieved, it doesn't help women. I still work in a taco truck.
Right. And it's like, meanwhile, it's like they do these classisms too much, where it's like women comics, women this, and it's like, no, you're just a woman. That is a woman.
Right.
I started this fight on Brendan Burns' Facebook, and I had to stop.
Right.
Because I was like, somebody wrote that. That's mine. Somebody wrote that this woman got told that she couldn't go on a lineup somewhere because they had too many women on the lineup already.
Right.
And she was like, what do you mean? That's bullshit. And I've seen the women on the lineup.
Well, maybe they had one woman.
Right. And she goes,
I'm joking.
Bullshit. And she goes, I don't do anything. My comedy's nothing like them. It's bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, it is bullshit.
Who said that?
This woman in England.
I mean, what? Oh, the club. I mean, what club?
Some club. She wants to name the club, but she goes, it's ridiculous to be turned down because of gender at this point.
Hey, join the club of we're not looking for white males.
Yeah. So I wrote, like, just so you know, I've actually told multiple men that they can't do my show because they are a man.
Right.
That I can't have them. If they lost their dick right now, I could book them. But with their dick in place, I cannot have them on the show.
Well, it is ridiculous to say that to a woman because I can't imagine a circumstance where there's like too many women.
That's some ladies like, I'm so sick of men saying I knew this was going to come.
Is there a micro USB cable do you have? Like a PlayStation cord?
This one.
No, I know what you're talking about, exactly.
And then she was like, I'm so sick of men saying, oh, it's hard for men too. Boo hoo. Boo. She wrote, boo fucking who if a man did get turned out for once. And I want to be like, but I had to stop because it was getting
What do you mean for once, sweetheart?
And I want to be like, listen, these comics I'm saying no to, they're not men comics.
Yeah.
They're not male comedy. And you're not female comedy.
Right.
That's just a comic who has worked really hard and who hasn't gotten something.
That's a different. See, they don't understand how this is what's sad about. That's more of a millennial thing too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
A certain generation, like especially the ones that think that who saw people become a star on YouTube.
Yeah.
This is why Trump's getting elected now. Okay, and by the way, he can totally beat Hillary. If you think he can't, you're stupid.
Yeah,
that nightmare can happen. And
they're pretty much tied in the polls.
And by the way, I'm even waffling on if I don't want him to win because I would like to see a lot of you cry.
Me too. That's the thing. When George Bush was running and somebody cried,
I was like, I feel like since I've had to listen to so many like white women the last few weeks call me a white male like angrily.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, sweetheart, are we a different species now? Let me get this straight. You're some kind of person of color now in your head?
Yeah.
And you're not in the same boat?
You're a first world white woman?
Did you actually get beaten into a whole different race? I'm sorry, sweetie. I thought you were white, too. Oh, you're a little better than me on your made-up pyramid of who's born more evil. Go fuck yourself, bitch. You're in the canoe with me.
I like how
evil
people
white
I like how
people.
people go like, well, all the presidents have been white males. I'm like, yeah, and you know what they haven't been? Me. I haven't been one of those presidents.
And by the way, you voted for him too, sweetie. You can have a female president anytime you want by getting out and voting. It's just women are not a club, and it doesn't matter how much you try to calm me up. If you don't have talent, you don't have talent. And women being raised up doesn't do shit for you. That's what upsets you. See, if you're a talented woman, you'll be fine.
Oh, you'll be super fine.
You'll be fine. If you're not, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go with a Marxist worldview because that's the only way you get ahead. That's the fact. That's a fact. You can't make it in a... That's where you hear any woman, any not just women.
You know when you use the word like sweetie, you're trying to poke the bear, right?
When I'm talking to a very specific person right now, I'm not talking to all the women.
But they do all hear it, though.
The Ari Shaffir podcast? I doubt it.
No, I'm saying...
I think it's only people who would appreciate me using that language.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. If you're someone who is cool, I'm not talking to you.
Skanks.
I'm talking to a specific taco truck feminist who I called into, who I did apologize, for quote unquote shaming rape victims, even though never at all what I was doing. I was on my own wall speaking my own mind, which I'm allowed to do.
But you also weren't saying you should be embarrassed. Your whole point was don't string them up in a court of public opinion.
Yeah, the thing was I was responding to the outrageous idea that asking for details is like re-raping the victim.
Yeah.
Okay, which was written by a very stupid person.
I wanted to ask Beth about details.
Right. Well, listen,
I
don't need court evidence.
What happened exactly?
See, this is how they lied about me. Like, I'm not saying I need court evidence to believe you. I just need anything besides we've determined so-and-so's a rapist.
Yeah.
Because there's people out there that lie and try to destroy a man's reputation. And my reputation is not worthless. And I'm not nothing, okay? I realize I had the misfortune to be a white male, and that's the worst thing there is.
Well, I'm going to pause.
But I'm still not worthless.
I'm going to pause for a second and say a name.
Huh.
But to this guy that I just mentioned, because I don't want to get him in more trouble, some ex threw a public Twitter rape claim at him.
Yeah.
And he was super worried. I guess all his friends believed him.
Yeah.
And then eventually she goes, no, I was just upset about. And he was like, well, can you take that down then? Can you please take that down then? Because this is people
that's
still
outrageous.
think. And it's so easily, if he was a bigger comic, then he's
Why
done.
did she do that?
She was upset about her getting dumped or something.
Did he not wear a condom? Was that what that is?
I don't know. Something like that. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, they're trying to do the Julian Assange.
Yeah, but it's
bullshit.
But it's it was just really bad. And it was this guy's going to be really strung up over somebody that they took back.
Well, let me tell you something. I talked to this person I spoke to who I totally believe, by the way.
Who?
This woman, I don't know her name.
The one in this case?
Yes.
Okay. This UCB case.
And I brought up shit like that because I've had my own issues of people telling lies about me. And I brought it up to her, and she's like, well, did they go to the police or did they go? And I go, no. In fact, when I think about it, there's a big difference between someone saying you did it and you didn't on social media and you going to prison for a crime you didn't commit.
Yeah.
Okay. And to say, I see what I understand is it's just as easy to say this person is being investigated for rape. Mm-hmm. And it's a simple wording change.
Yeah.
And I think it's better than saying they're guilty.
Oh, okay? Well, for sure. But still, it's they're guilty when you hear that.
But okay, if I believe this person, because now I believe this person did it. I'm not even saying his name. Mm-hmm. Okay? But I believe he did it based on what the story I was told. Yeah. And by the way, that was very gracious of this woman to call me after because she goes, look, you had some good points, but you made me cry.
She's the one who claimed that guy?
Mm-hmm. And you made a bunch of these other women who I believe are victims cry. And they didn't understand what I was getting at.
Why did they cry?
What? Because what I said was in a very harsh tone. And if someone tells them I'm saying this about them, like they're an idiot. See,
that's the problem.
She didn't post. Somebody else posted on behalf of her. So she didn't want someone to think she didn't go to cops and went to a clown school.
She did go to cops.
Yeah, maybe. Well, hypothetically, because I'm not going to say.
Why?
But because I said I'm going to let her tell her own thing. Okay, I'm not blowing up her spot. She can make a statement. But hypothetically, maybe she did go to the cops, and the cops weren't very helpful.
Right.
And also, hypothetically, after you get raped, you might be in so much shock that you actually take a shower, even as you're telling yourself, "Don't take a shower. Don't take a shower."
So now, are you?
So look, I'm just saying. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's not feasible. Your
point, though, when you were saying it was, listen, fine, string up all you want, but
listen,
definitely also go to the cops.
I know.
Are you no longer saying that?
No. I'm not no longer saying it. What I'm saying is, So let's say you were in shock and you didn't go to the cops right away and you showered too quickly.
Yeah, then
and
you're
now there's
fucked.
no evidence. And then you, let's say you went to the cops and now it's 2 years later. What can they do? I don't even know if cops are investigating this dude right now. Okay, all this attention was focused on me. I don't know that anybody's investigating him. I think it's a good bet no one is. Also, if this guy is this dangerous, which I believe he is, I'm just saying what I think.
Yeah.
How the fuck is he still? I mean, you've got to let people know that what's going on, because he could be working somewhere for years and doing this and nobody does anything. Or,
Just not at the UCB.
I mean, yeah, like what do you do? Like if you got to tell UCB or whoever.
Well,
I'm not
what
saying
do you
anybody,
do though? What do you do though?
You handle
It's not
it.
string up on social media. What do you do? That won't get it done. You can just move. What do you do?
What they could, well, you could on social media say someone's under investigation. Okay, you could do that. You got to be real careful how you handle it. I'm just saying, don't throw it out there like it's no big deal to destroy a man's identity and reputation, because I have as much value as anyone, despite being white and a
I saw
male.
one comment on the fucking rage on you. One comment was like, I think what a lot of the feminists don't understand is Kurt is coming at it from a place of, oh, I could easily be accused of something and strung up
Right.
with no, and so me, from my point of view,
Right.
and from my gender and who I am,
Right.
That's a dangerous like precedent to set for
That's
anyone
right.
to take me down.
That's right. And so everyone.
So that's what scares you.
And okay, now here's the other thing I noted. And by the way, I would say, number one, if someone's an accuser and someone's the accused,
Yeah.
both people should be spoken to. Okay, there's this idea.
That guy wasn't at the UCB?
I can't give details about it, but hypothetically,
Christ,
I
Kurt.
can't. There's
Okay.
could be lawsuits. Okay, and there's reasons.
Can I tell you what I heard? What he
Well-
did?
Well, hold up.
Okay.
But hypothetically, and not saying anything did or didn't happen, let's say UCB hears this and they just go. They don't even go to him to ask him about it. That's wrong. They should.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous, and this is something people took from college campuses, where they don't even speak to the accused. They just let him know he's
They
been
did
found
for the
guilty.
mattress guy.
They did speak to him.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, we've looked at it, and we don't think you did anything."
Right. Well,
And then she's
Mattress
like,
Girl's a
"Fuck you."
liar, a very obvious liar.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, that she sticks out. And
Can I
Jackie,
tell you this though? When you say
Yeah.
accused, do you remember when Atlanta had the Olympics in I think 90 something, and there was a bombing,
Right.
and they said we have a suspect, and it was
Right.
some old guy with white hair or whatever it was some security guard. Turns out. It wasn't the guy.
Right.
He got so many death threats.
I know.
His life was ruined.
No, it wasn't ruined. See, that's the thing. Everybody goes, your life. Now your life's ruined. We got to stop saying that. That's what I realize is very damaging. Because even the Duke lacrosse team, their life is not ruined. That guy became a millionaire. He sued and won millions of dollars from the government. And rightly so.
Because his life was ruined.
Yeah, but now he's still alive and he has millions. And he's not a security guard.
Okay. So you're saying it's too harsh that life was ruined?
We got to stop with the hyperbole with everything.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, everyone's so black and white, and there's no nuance with anything. That's what I spoke to her about. The woman who I believe is a victim was the fear of being gone girled.
What does that mean?
The movie Gone Girl
I remember it.
with Ben Affleck, and his wife fakes that she got murdered by him, and really she's staying at an old boyfriend's, and everyone thinks he killed his wife. And
She's still alive.
yeah, she's just a cunt in real life.
So the fear is what?
Of being gone girl, like an evil woman's gonna. And by the way, it happens all the time, and you wouldn't
What?
believe how a woman's angry enough to lie and just fuck your life up. Okay. However, I 100% believe actual rape is more common.
Super minority
Okay.
case
Right.
in relation to actual rapes. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Now, when you think about how rape, there's a better way to think about it. When you go, because I would talk about it like, okay, my bike getting stolen. You got to chain your bike up. It's not my fault if my bike gets taken, but I could have been smarter about how I had my bike. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
The way to think about it, I would say to people, or how I think about it now, when I think about like, I don't think about it in those analogies. I think about it in the analogy this way: my girlfriend, my sister, my mother gets raped. How do I want it handled? Right. Okay. I don't think it's my wallet got taken. Blah. That's not the way to relate to it.
Yep.
Relate to it is you have a loved one that got raped. Now, what do you want to happen? Okay, and be reasonable. Do you want this, this, and this? And that's the way to think about it if you're a guy or someone who, or a woman, anybody think about it.
What I would want,
Yeah.
let's put it in that context.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of times they do this with cops. Like, if you just don't yell at them, why would that guy not put his hands up? Like, doesn't mean you should get murdered.
Right.
You know? But, okay, what I would want, if a sister or a loved one got raped,
Yeah.
what I'd want is to be able to go to the police, have the police go, oh, fuck, hold on. Do you need anything? Let's get your help. Let's get you a seat.
Right.
So sorry you went through this. Let's at least as much customer service as fucking T-Mobile when they go, well, we definitely got to get you back up on.
Even a friendly robot voice.
Yeah. And then investigate it, find the guy.
Right.
Prosecute him.
Right.
Prove that he did it and have him go to jail for, let's say, 6 to 10 years.
Okay, so now here's the issues with that.
Maybe 5 years.
I firsthand from talking to people, it's horrific the way the police handle it. They put you in an interrogation room like you're a criminal to report a rape. So already a problem. Not to mention the backlog of untested rape kits that are just never going to be tested. Okay? Not to mention my girlfriend just sat on a jury for a rape case. She actually got in touch with the woman who was the victim finally.
Of what?
Of the rape.
She sat on the rape case?
Yeah, she'll tell you about it. She sat on a jury for this, and they couldn't find the guy guilty, and the guy clearly did it. Okay?
Yeah.
And there are reasons why they couldn't find him, and it's partly because the prosecution fucked up, and it's almost like the game was rigged from the start.
It is hard to prove.
That's right.
I will tell you this, though.
Wait.
Go ahead. Keep going.
So now, and it's the way that a lot of these dippy millennials, they're like, well, police are just, they mix in all their goddamn left-wing bullshit where the police are infiltrated by the Ku Klux Klan and you can never talk to police. That's what this moron who wrote a blog about me said.
What?
That she thinks that you can't ever go to the police should be bypassed altogether.
Always?
Always.
Not just rape?
Right. And in every case for everything. Because she's an idiot. Well, we don't have to. She's a moron. I'm done talking about her, but that's a different person. The woman that I spoke to that I believe got raped was not a moron. She was very funny and I liked her a lot. I don't know her name, but she thought everything that I thought that was ridiculous, but she's in a bad spot and she needs...
The UCB rapist.
Yeah, she needs help. She needs help from these people that suck. And what am I going to do? Judge her? I can't. Right. Okay? So just whenever she comes out with whatever happened, I hope people listen to her because it was what I realized from... If I had had her story, I wouldn't have identified with the dude. See, without anything to go on, I project myself onto the accused.
Because you look like him.
Right? Yeah. I'm like, oh, I don't know anything about this guy. People are just saying he's a rapist and I'm supposed to believe it?
Yeah.
What if that was me?
There was a...
But now I have two sides of a story. I heard him talk and I heard one of the women talk. So now when I heard her story, I projected onto her instead because her story was very compelling and believable.
It's also like who gets the first word out is a lot of times who you will side with.
And all I said was get the word out, give me more to go on than just, psst, there was a UCB investigation. Which there wasn't. That was incorrect terminology. That was a mistake by someone.
What was there?
Nothing even close to that.
Just UCB saying
somebody stupidly wrote that who's not even affiliated
with UCB. Did they do anything?
Yeah, but I can't even talk about what they did.
Jesus, Kurt.
But I can't. But the person, and there's a good reason why, which I'll tell you later. But the person who wrote that was not affiliated with UCB. They chose that language to sound important.
That's what a lot of them do. Let's say it'll be one case of something. Let's say a guy beat up somebody. Let's say I beat up Bobby Lee, and I did. Yeah. Then someone will say he beat up somebody.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, really? And then someone else will go, Ari beats up people.
There you go.
To make it sound stronger. Right. And then it's like, oh, yeah, Ari beats up people. Right. Now it's a plural. And it's like, that's not what happened, though.
And now there's a lie that woman, Sadie Doyle, has put around about me that I choke and beat women. She actually added beat to it.
Yeah.
I have no record of any kind. I have never done that, okay? The thing that I was referring to when I did use the term criminally choked in a comment was hyperbole. Yeah. Even my ex, who I was like, maybe I should have her on the show to explain that I don't do that. She was like, why do you make everything so dramatic? Like you didn't do that. And I was like, you know what?
But that's what everybody does. Yeah. When I go, nobody likes whatever,
This isn't plugged into anything. It is.
Is it not?
No, it's not charging. Oh well.
Plug it into this then.
No, now it's working. Yeah.
Oh, when I go, a show is worse. Like it gets worse ratings, and I go like, oh, nobody watches fucking so and so anymore, Right. And somebody go like, yes, tons of people watch it. 100,000 people watch it. I'm like, yeah, that's not what I mean. I mean like nobody watches it. Is it getting charged or no?
Let me plug it in somewhere. Oh yeah, it is. Now it is. I don't know what happened. Just let me try. Okay. It's all right. Yeah, exactly. They say that shit. It's all definitive, and it's a stupid.
And you're like, yeah, I know. I don't mean nobody watches, obviously.
But dude, I didn't have that. So because of that stupid use of language, which was not even UCB or anyone affiliated with them, I projected. And by the way,
by the way, just before we get on, just speaking of UCB, here's the $100 you get for doing this podcast.
Oh, well, someone is a fair trade coffee, free range chicken.
Getting one of the top comedians in the world to do my podcast. Of course,
thanks,
when you
buddy.
ask them to be funny or whatever, you should be paying them. Whatever, do what you want, UCB, but let you know people are out there paying people for their talents.
Yeah, I wish I knew how to make money on my podcast to pay anybody for being on. It's somehow, you name a podcast Race Wars, it's not profitable. Somehow, it ends up being a poor choice of merchandising names.
White robes sell a ton, but they don't have the money to sponsor them.
I shouldn't, but this is the other thing. I'm not getting any more fights. Number one, I'm not giving away shit for free on Facebook ever again. That's my own low self-esteem.
I disagree. I think you will.
I'm not on promotions. That's it.
What do you mean?
Buy a ticket. You want to see anything?
You're still going to put out rants on Facebook.
I'm never doing it again.
I think you're wrong.
I'm telling you.
I don't think you're lying for the record. I just think you're wrong.
I'm just not going to. I mean, I'm just not.
We'll see.
Well, but my whole philosophy is like completely different. I told you I'm not. That's since then, because I'm writing a TV series now.
Yeah.
Which since I haven't been doing that on Facebook, like
you're more creative with that.
Yeah, a million times.
Oh,
it turns out I have like such energy to write for everything, and be paid for it. That if I'm not venting. Like if I'm not venting every little frustration on social media, I have to sit with my dissatisfaction, and then it becomes something better.
I heard Norton when he got thrown off for like 2 weeks when they got banned for like that homeless guy saying he wants to hold down Condoleezza Rice until she loves him. And they were like, "You're saying rape is okay?" He goes, "No, we were talking to a crazy person."
Right.
And he wasn't even saying that.
They try to put it on you. Right.
Yeah. But anyway, when he was offered to, he said, "I was going crazy because I have no creative outlet."
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized. Like my creative outlet was, I could be. So my hands are like spiders, like this, like and I just put them in front of a keyboard, and then I start making shit. And that's what I should have been doing. But instead, I got addicted to this, and it's an addiction. I felt it when I felt the withdrawal from it.
From Facebook?
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, nobody agrees with me on this. The phone, social media in general, is an addiction.
Yeah, no, it's awful.
And people are like, it's not an addiction, just use it less. Like, that's like telling someone with cigarettes in their pocket just to not smoke them.
Right, I'm not that kind of person. And so here's what it did to me. It makes you think that the social media world's important, which it's not.
Just not.
Okay? Even your friend that you're talking about, it's not important. That's not going to be I don't even really know who the fuck he is.
All right.
I'm like, oh, someone lied about him on Twitter. That's all it's going to shit. The shit that happened to me is not important. I was like huge news. I couldn't even a week later, while on the road, talk about it with the people understanding what it was about.
You don't think in Hollywood someone's going to like not hire you?
This is the point I keep coming back to for the idiots who think that they can actually do anything to my career.
Yeah.
Actual rapists get work.
Right.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay? Jeepers Creepers 3 is coming out.
What is that?
Part 3 of Jeepers Creepers, the horror movie.
Who I'm saying who made it? Like
the pedophile who raped a child who made Powder. Remember the movie Powder?
Uh-huh.
The director of that got charged with taking a child across state lines to fuck.
Oh.
And he's still making movies.
Right.
Okay? So just so you know, there's no punishment system for a guy who misspoke on Facebook one time that's going to end my career. There's no such thing. The comedy business needs me more than I need it. And that's a fact. That's not me bragging. I've written for everyone great, and I'm going to continue to do so because I'm real good at it. And you literally can't do shit to me that way.
Here's what people don't understand, too. Like I saw Bird do this once at Outlaw where he was like, you should get him fired. He goes, from what? I go do stand-up. People who want to see me pay me to watch. I have no job. I have no boss. Right. And like for me, people are like, we're going to like fuck with you. And it's like, oh, maybe, but here's the deal. The only thing I like doing is creating stand-up.
Right.
I will continue doing that, whether it's for $100,000 or $1,000 or $10
no, they don't
or
get
zero. That's my career is creating.
Dude, and they're dumb.
It won't stop
and they're
that.
silly, no talent mind. First of all,
you might get this money income source shut off a little, and so then I'll have to go do that one instead.
Right.
But it doesn't matter.
But I lost a comedy knockout appearance because I understand it was the week of, and what are they going to do? Have me? They couldn't.
Right.
But
you'll just get it on later.
I'll just go on later.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally just had my profile raised. This is all you're doing. And what these imbeciles think is that it's a form of democracy.
Yeah.
Like, finally, direct democracy, because millennials are such fucking fat little foodies. like just overstuffed ticks with free entertainment. They think not only are they a part of the industry, that's what that Twitter shit is. Well, I'm going to write to Amy Schumer. You don't know her.
They do get people fired from their job, though. EU lynch mobs do get people fired from their job.
Well, any place that would cave to that, you're not hurting me because I don't want to, like if I lost,
become free of it.
Let's say I lost a club date, okay, even from that. I'll never work at that club ever the fuck again when it blows over.
You know what I
Because
like?
you've demonstrated to me that you're not, if you're a club owner, your obligation
is to defend.
The comedian, that's how the seller does in every good club.
Dude, when my second to last scandal that I had, I get into them all the time. No, third to last, excuse me. They called this Latino DJ from Charlotte, found my Amazing Racist videos. I was like, what? And got everybody up in arms. It happens every like 6 months. I just get like 1,000 Facebooks. And I'm like, what? Who else found it for the first time? Yeah. And so anyway, they called the stand. And they were like, well, you need to ban this guy. You know, you need to not have much, because I was on the lineup that night. I was on the lineup that night, but shit. But they called Chris Italia, and Chris Italia is like, you want me to ban?
That's a good club.
They're like, we'll go broke before we tell a comic.
No, that is a good club. I really want to name the club that didn't back. Hey, come in.
Come in. Oh.
Open it. Is it closed? Is it locked?
You want to name the club? Oh, right.
But maybe I shouldn't. But I'll never go there again, ever again.
Hi.
Ever again, because that booker demonstrated they're
It's
a
almost
punk.
like fuck you. I got thrown off. I got told I can't do a TV show anymore. And I'm like, oh, for some guy who is mad at a special he never saw, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to go on that show anymore. I don't really want to I don't want to add right.
Yeah, so you did me a favor. Do you have that battery? Yeah. Yeah, you did me a favor if you didn't put me on. I won't say the name. I'll tell you after, but you're banned from me ever setting foot there again.
Hold on. Damn.
Yeah, I'll never work there ever again under any circumstance you know. And by the way, if you're a club owner that does that and you don't stick up for the comic, you're lower than shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're lower than shit. I mean, you really don't deserve.
And here's the thing: when they say there's protests, it's like, oh no, I get it. People are coming after you a little bit online.
So say too bad.
All you have to do is ignore it for 2 weeks, and it will go away. How do you not know that by now?
You could be woke, but anyone that bans...
You can be woke.
Anybody that... Yeah, you could be woke to be in a different business. Anyone that books a club who would actually let a protester say who's going to be there...
That means you're not an artist.
You should be run out of this business. You should be run out of the business. Okay? And I'll let everyone know, too.
Wow, that club canceled you.
Yeah, they're finished with me. And I'm going to let everyone know that's what they did. They're finished with me. See, you don't understand.
But you won't let people know right now.
I'm not going to do it on the show because I'm not going to create an issue. I'm going to do it privately with comics.
Right.
Okay?
It's like when somebody bounces a check. Yeah. Like, just so you know, I'm telling
everything
everybody.
doesn't need to be put on social media.
Right.
Okay?
Because what you do if you put it here is you're going to have a whole bunch of like non-comedians going, fuck you, how could you not defend, and then take more abuse. And it's like, that's not what I want. I just want to let people who need to know.
Well, if you don't stand up for comics, you don't deserve to be in this business, and go fuck yourself. What my crime was slightly misspeaking on Facebook when I had excellent points. That's my crime.
You have a lot of good points.
That's my crime. Go fuck yourself. And the backlash, see, everyone's getting sick of this bullshit. So it's going to turn around the other way.
Sort of, but there's still enough people. Here's what I noticed. There was this case in D.C. These two kids, I believe a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, walking down a semi-busy street by themselves. Let's say like a First Avenue type place. But this isn't New York where everybody walks around by themselves all the time. And somebody pulls over and is like, kids, where are your parents? Like, whose are you? Why are you walking alone? And they're like, oh, we're going home. We're at the park. We're going home. And they're like, what by your, like, nobody's watching you? And he goes, no, it's like, oh, this is way wrong. She called the cops. She goes, we got to find where these kids live. Yeah. And they called the cops. The cops came, and the kids are like, oh, we live there. And so they called the parents. The parents are like, oh, no, we taught our kids how to walk home from the park. The 8-year-old can't, but as long as she's with the 10-year-old, then it's okay.
I remember that, yeah.
95% of the people who read that story were on the side of the parents. Yes, they trust their children to walk home. They have taught them well.
Right.
5% were not on the side of the parents.
Right.
And those 5% came after those parents so hard and gave them so much vitriol and like you should have your kids taken away from you that it became overwhelming to them.
Right.
This fuck on their psyche. This sort of like, fuck you, you're an awful person. It's like,
well,
wait,
you know what? Dude, it gets overwhelming. Well, Karen was there. She knows. It fucking, the shit that got to me was like people were saying they're going to like rape my fiance.
Wow.
To teach me about rape culture. I mentioned this before on this shit, but I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Should I dye your hair? Should I dye your hair? Yeah. Okay.
It's by the way a fantastic lesson about rape culture.
Oh my god.
that there's probably an issue here.
Hey, come this way. I'm gonna get another mic and an extender.
All right. Well, I gotta go to the bathroom. So here, Karen, you take this.
Okay. Hey.
Hey, wait. You were gonna tell me something, Karen. Okay, we'll take a break for a second.
Doing the pigeon, doing the pigeon, doing the pigeon every day.
All right. So here. So now let me ask you a question.
Okay.
And Karen, I want to ask you about that thing.
Okay.
That rape case you sat on.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh.
Let's do that first, actually.
Okay.
Was you reached out to the girl that you couldn't prove?
Yeah, right. So we couldn't prove it because the prosecutor filed these unprovable indictments where we had to find for intent, right? So to find for intent, you have to figure out what someone was thinking before he committed the crime.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do it because we would have had to prove... It would have had to be proven that he'd busted through her front door of her apartment, and there was no evidence for it at all. So the prosecutor fucked up. We had to acquit the guy. Nobody knows why unless the jurors talk about it, right? And then the jurors are under no obligation to do that. So I wrote him this whole email, like, in good faith, thinking...
You wrote who?
The prosecutor.
Yeah.
Thinking, like... I was naive. I was like...
Saying, just so you know, that we could have done this if you didn't...
Right.
Exactly. I'm like, just so you know, this is what happened. This is exactly how the argument went, and this is where we got tripped up. He never responded, and I was like, all right. And then... But it bothered me for a long time, and then finally, I talked to Barry Crimmins about it for, like, hours.
You gotta tell me who this guy is, by the way.
He's the best. But he's like a fixer. And I was like in tears on the phone with him, and this is months after the trial, and he was like, maybe you should reach out to this girl because I bet she'd want to hear all this. So it took like 2 seconds, obviously, to track her down on Facebook. I found her and I wrote this whole thing like, I'm sorry if you don't want to hear from me, but just so you know, people believed you and people listened to you, and if you want to know what happened and why he was acquitted, just let me know. I'd be happy to like tell you everything.
Yeah.
So she did. She was like, you know, I've had no idea this whole time. People told me to get over it, and I tried, but I've been trying to get over something that had no closure. And she was like, I really want to know, why couldn't you guys force a mistrial if you believed me? It was like, it was sad. It was heartbreaking a little.
Yeah.
So I forwarded her this email that I'd sent him, right, which is totally exhaustive. Like, if she had any questions about how we treated anything, it was in there. And she was sweet. She wrote me back, and she was like, I finally get it. All the puzzle pieces are clicking together. And she answered my questions that I'd had about the evidence in the email, you know, where I was like, we don't know this, we don't know this. She answered it.
Oh.
I was like, what happened to the grocery? She goes, I put them away.
Why didn't the prosecutor ask that?
I don't know. She was saying that too. We both were. Like, why did he? Because, you know, once you get the case and you can start deliberating, you realize it's just like a puzzle. That's all it is. It's, you have the evidence, you have facts.
You can't go back and
you
say,
have the law.
Can I ask what happened to the groceries?
Nope, you can't. But like the thing is, it's just a logic puzzle where you try to figure out how this information fits in the very strict definition, like parameters of the law, right? So you would expect that the lawyers would have done that work. It's just logical deduction, that's all. Like, you'd expect that they would have done it before it got to us. I felt like I did the work of it that the lawyer didn't do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like doomed before I'd even gotten in there because it took us 2 days to get to the point where we didn't have the evidence.
Yeah.
And he should have known that. He's the one that knew all the evidence and the law before we even got in there. So he cocked up, and then I guess she called the DA's office
and said,
after that.
Yeah.
And she was, because she had no idea what the defense said she was a coked up prostitute, and she's a regular girl. That's what they said. And she had no idea because she's not allowed to be in the courtroom after she testifies.
Why?
I don't know. She said also he discouraged her from hiring a lawyer. He goes, I don't like to work with other lawyers. But if she'd had a lawyer, she would have had a representative in the courtroom even when she couldn't have been there.
Yeah.
So it was fucked up on every level. So I guess she called his supervisor.
Yeah.
And was like, why didn't you guys, after the trial, why didn't you inform me of what the defense had said when I asked you? And they said, like, we'll get back to you on that, and never did. So now he knows I blew up his spot.
Well, good.
Well,
Who cares?
listen, but
Yeah,
the,
good.
The thing is,
Mediocre
this is like
employee.
this is like a real
Yep.
problem, okay? And all these people online that think they're helping with this bullshit are not helping. They
What do you
could
mean?
be-
What do you mean helping with the bullshit?
with the little takedowns and all that little nonsense they do, it's
Yeah.
not really helping a problem. Someone like me, if he was more
Yeah, it's
aware
amazing
of
they
a
were going
problem-
after you more than they were going after the guy they're talking about.
Yeah, and by the way, I did a survey on stage. I'm like, how many people know of who I am and this thing? And like maybe 10 people out of a packed house.
Oh, that's the thing. That's
Okay,
what-
and then 2 people knew who the actual rapist was.
whoa.
You know, I was like, slow clap for America time, guys. You did it. So anyway, the way this works on the law enforcement side, that's where like 90% of the focus should be.
Yeah.
When someone's a victim coming in and not being made to feel like a criminal.
Can I tell you one thing in,
Yeah.
in defense of, and this is not going to be actually in defense of cops, but in defense of cops not mishandling rape cases?
Yeah.
The stat I've seen is of whatever, 1.7% of rapes are have the person go to jail.
Right.
But another stat I saw was of thefts, 3.2% of thefts, people who steal go to jail.
Right.
It seems to me just like cops suck.
Well, I think that it's the point is not that cops suck. I mean, they might suck, but rape is a specific thing. Sexual assault's different because consent means intent, right? Intent is inherent to sexual assault cases, and that's really, really hard to prove what someone was thinking before they touched you.
Yeah.
Even if you know, you have to prove it in a court of law. Whereas theft is pretty straightforward. You took a thing that didn't belong to you, and it can be proven.
Do you guys see now when you have no kind of legal recourse? I think Franklin said this about revolution. If you can't like peacefully change stuff, you'll eventually like violently change stuff.
Right.
You'll revolt.
Right.
Isn't like a court of public appeal,
It's not.
e-mob?
It's a thing
isn't
to
that
placate them.
Isn't that an
Yeah.
inevitability that we're going to string somebody up on our own because no one will take care of it?
Sure, but see, this is the comment I made before. Why this wasn't a lynch mob? That
Yeah.
thing I had is because even a lynch mob occasionally hung an actual rapist.
Right. Yeah.
And I had never heard of a lynch mob breaking off pursuit to go after a guy who said maybe lynch mobs are bad.
Right.
And
Yeah.
to string
Most of
him
your
up
point.
instead.
Most of your point was like, guys.
And also, a lynch mob's end result is not that my career gets boosted.
Well, also, it wasn't
Like
it
on no
wasn't like
level is
the-
this as good or effective as a lynch mob.
But it wasn't like the evidence was so overwhelming and then the cops did nothing and it pushed people to take justice into their own hands.
Yeah.
There was, at the time, nothing, and people
Yeah.
just flipped the fuck out because he said something.
They're waiting, and look, dude, I was like this. Why does it matter? Because I look at faith. I never read other people's before. I always this whole time.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for years. Never read other people's, okay? And then when I finally looked at other people's, they're all doing the same thing I was doing,
Putting out
blathering
stuff.
their opinions.
Yeah.
And why did mine matter?
I think
Or
Donald
why
Trump
did
should
mine
be
matter?
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
blah.
But,
Yeah.
So I'm not doing anything anybody else.
Well, the
did.
way Attell says it is, it's all kind of senseless. They will come for all of us. The E-rage will come for all of us
Well, the
at some
reason
point.
is I'm too good to be on there doing that. That's why. Everybody's doing the same thing, but for some reason I was the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm giving away something for free that you should have to pay to see. So I'm done with the promotional
So-
fees. And
so-
that's why I'm not going to be ranting. on
Okay, I know you
Yeah.
said that. But listen, let me ask you a question. So now you said it's the fucking, let's call them militant feminists. That's what I like to call them.
I call
Same
them
as-
big sisters.
I like
Not
to call them
even-
extreme Muslims too, extreme Islamists. You know,
Well, big
where it's not
sister
most
is
of
what
them.
I
Most of them
call
are
it.
fine.
I don't even want to. I'm not even going to malign feminism like that. Some people hate it. I don't.
Oh.
I'm for it. So.
But
I'm not gonna bring that up.
but here's the deal. That's not most of them that were eventually against you. That kind of got more widespread to where it was sort of a men got involved.
It's people who are like in the big sister thing, which is.
But they also, I saw a lot of people just read headlines and was like, yeah, fucked up.
But there's an industry about this, and a lot of people who supposedly are stand-ups, what their dream is, because some people want to be an actor, but they
Yeah.
do stand-up.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Uh-huh,
Some
sure.
people want to be the face of activism.
Yeah.
Like their own little D-rated.
And so, like, I'll report somebody.
So they go, I'm a stand-up, and this is going to be my stepping stone to being a guy with a megaphone,
Right.
or a woman with a megaphone.
By the way, that's why I don't like you having those people on your podcast that were just Facebook warriors.
Well, that's
that
why-
aren't developed comics. That
But
you're
some
like
people-
elevating them because they were making
Right.
stupid
Well, I
points.
thought they understood that how much it was helping them to just even have me speak to them, and it turns out they were aware the whole time,
Yeah.
but for a different reason. It was so they could pretend that I was like it was some form of harassment. Me talking to you
Well, this
online.
turned
on your
the-
Facebook wall.
This
Yeah,
this
is
was
it-
now
yeah.
their new way of them not writing jokes.
Yeah,
Everything's
it's yet
just to
another
not
way.
write jokes.
Yet another way not to write a joke, and so people do anything except the actual job,
Yeah.
and they'll all be upset that they're not getting this or that.
Yeah, that's the girl groups, the secret
If
quote unquote girl groups. Where it's
listen, if
like,
you're a
you
woman-
guys are all on here, not writing
If you're a
jokes.
I'm not
woman
welcome
in
there, by the way. I'm
stand-up,
not
if you're in
part of any of
stand-up,
them. Mhm.
okay,
They don't
you're a
like me.
woman in stand-up and
Yeah.
you're funny, and you're not getting to where you're making a living, that's all your fault. There's no reason.
It is so easy. If you're an okay female comic, you'll be fine.
Every day I pray that the new stereotype will be white males who specifically are named Kurt Metzger aren't funny, because that would be the greatest bar in the. I'll look like I'm flying.
I saw a woman say, "I wish finally men would stop saying you're funny for a woman," and I wanted to tell her, I'm like, "Hey, do you know what the alternative is? The alternative is not them going, you're funny. The alternative is them going, you're not funny."
Right.
They're not qualifying it for no reason.
Give a shit. Like, this is what I understand. See, this is that
You're a good
funny
basketball
thing.
player for a 6-year-old. Yeah, that doesn't mean if they take that away, you're not a good basketball player.
Listen, it's a great compliment, though. It's like, we're not all in this together. Like, if you go, you're funny for a man, I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? I understand where she's coming from, where it's like, what does me being a woman have to do with anything? I'm just funny. That's what she's not thinking of it as I'm fighting for all women. Yeah. She's thinking of it as, oh, so I couldn't have been. Like, I get where she's coming from with that, actually.
Who's she, though?
The one he's talking about, who's mad about.
All right.
And I get what's annoying, but just take it as a compliment, because it's the same thing as when I did the black rooms and they go, you're funny for
a white guy.
Whatever. Just a compliment. And I go, oh, so white men can't be. I went, oh, I'm the one that's special. Good.
That means they don't expect you to be, and then there you are.
But I really
think
where she's coming from, but there's no unity.
Well, guess what? She just wouldn't be called funny otherwise.
The people that are going to help you in this business are going to be overwhelmingly men.
Yeah.
And that's who's going to be nicer to you. In fact, more than likely, if you're a woman in this business, you're going to experience evil from other women more than men.
Oh, I knew a woman who actively told her agent not to pick up one of her best friends as a client because they looked too much alike, even though they did not look alike. They were just both cute female comics.
And if you think of insecurity the way stand-up comedians are with their insecurities and their vanities, you can ratchet that up to 10 with a woman because, just as you said, she looks too much like me. She doesn't look anything like you. Oh, we have to get past your fucking woman-level dysmorphia now?
Yeah.
Man-level dysmorphia is bad enough. Woman-level is insane. So you're going to face more awful shit, and it is an evil thing. There can only be room for one woman, and it's going to be me and not you, bitch. And that's what you're going to face in comedy more than men. Now,
I know some women who've been honest about it and say, yeah, more female comics coming in hurt my chances of success.
To be fair, though, to especially some of the female comics I've talked to recently.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to being in, like, the cellar, that scene, okay?
Yeah.
And the cellar is like everyone's afraid that they're going to be mocked, which you will be.
Right.
And you should be mocked.
But you will be regardless.
Right, but it's like inclusive and it's honest. See this Brooklyn scene where it's like Alton, I throw UCB in with them even though there's one in Manhattan and whatever. That scene of BK horseshit where it's like Alty and a bar, all the shitty rooms where you hear about how terrible it is for female comics. You know what? It is that terrible. I had no idea. The beta male comedian out there is a predator and they pretend to be nice to your face and they're out to get you. They're out to Cosby you, the ones that are predators.
Yeah.
Okay? And even if they're not trying to outright rape
and they hang
you,
out in inclusive rooms, you're saying?
Yeah, they don't mock each other. They never mock you to your face, but they just quietly exclude, or worst case scenario, some of them are rapists. So I wasn't even aware of what was going on because I don't run in that scene.
No,
okay?
Right.
So now that I'm a little more aware, this is why I should have been on Facebook talking to people that I don't need to talk to, that are not in my realm. But now that I have, and what I realize is a lot of people looked up to me. That's who I needed to apologize to. Not any of these people out to get me, but people who were fans that didn't understand what I was saying. Okay? And there's a lot of them.
Why? Yeah.
And I wrote to every single person that I could who messaged me. Unless you went to my fan
said, what are you doing?
No, I just hash it out with every single person.
No, the people who reached out and said, what is this? What are you doing?
Well, people who were on my side or people who were against me, I said the same things too. And I had a lot of people like turn around and they just couldn't believe I spoke to them.
Right.
So it's easy to get, when you get on these stupid social media things, you create your own bubble that you end up living in.
Yeah.
Where you think that, this is the whole world, and it's not. And it makes it hard for you to talk to other people. It does.
And you think that's all so important. Right, like you said, most people don't know. Eric Abrams asked me last time I had a big thing. He was like, oh, in New York, like, what are people saying? Like, what do crowds say? I'm like, they just go, there's the guy from TV.
Yeah, nobody
They don't have any idea.
I said this before.
Let me ask you a question though, Kurt.
Yeah.
When the rage comes at you from Twitter, Facebook, I'm sure Karen, you're getting threatened to get raped.
No,
to teach
they
them a
don't
lesson.
say it to her. They say it to me.
It went to him.
But when this all happens, what's the overall psyche effect on you of getting that much negativity thrown at you?
It's demoralizing, dude, for sure. But the thing that was really getting at me was the threats at my fiance. That's look, that's not even a thing I thought was really going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's just an ugly thing to put in your head. That it only takes like 3 to be like, Jesus, 3 people
Said they're gonna
have that thought, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of it was just wishing it on me. It wasn't outright, but whatever. Like, that's such a dark thing to have. And then somebody wrote in Heavy. I used to work for Heavy.com.
Oh, right.
Heavy.com wrote an article about her. Everything you need to know.
Texts being like, "Wake up, bitch! There's an article."
Everything you need to know about Kurt Metzger's girlfriend. First of all, you don't need to know shit about my girlfriend. Why are they writing this? This guy at Heavy, he writes about any person in the news. He writes about their girlfriend. So Snowden, everything you need to know about Snowden's girlfriend. That's what this piece of shit does for a living.
So what do they write about you, Kerr?
Well,
But she's a Jew.
One of it was that I'm a Jew.
That's what they exposed.
They brought up, it was all just shit you'd see on a private Facebook. So it was like my dad's Facebook profile picture and my sister's and where they went to school. Like just the shit that you can see without friending somebody.
Yeah, these activists, activists.
Well, it's not an activist.
They go after.
I used to work for them. This is the worst
Really?
part. I used to write for Heavy like 13 years ago, and now they're a pure clickbait site. And I guess they don't. When they did their investigative journalism into my Jew girlfriend here, they didn't notice that they've paid me
that you're an
many
employee
times to work for them. Yeah, I can't get none of them. They took the thing down. Patton Oswalt retweeted her trashing them, and the guy had to delete his own account. The reporter that wrote the
he
thing
just
about
does that. He's back. He just deletes and lies low in the heat. With
well,
him, and then he comes right
I didn't know
back.
he's back on Twitter.
Yeah, I believe he's Paul Farrell 1985.
Well, Paul Farrell, I'll be reaching out to you, friend. And I encourage anyone else to do the same. I know he loves to hear from fans.
It's Farrell with 2 R's and 2 L's.
Tell him what a fantastic thing
this is just more e-rage you're trying to incite. That's the problem. Here's what I want to do. When somebody goes after a job, when some Lindy West type or something when one of them goes, hey, we got to get this guy fired, even though it's like, usually it's fired from an unrelated job. It's not like you did your job bad, let's get you fired from your job. It's like you did this thing in a park, let's go get you fired from your accounting job. But anyway, when they do try to get you fired, I want to be like, let's go after them. But I've looked through their feeds, the super feminists, there's nothing in there.
Right, they don't work. This is their job.
So what I want to do is find a bunch of people, find their father, their brother, someone they love, and say, let's find something on them, get them fired from their FedEx job, and they say, how does it feel? Let's not let you have free shots at us.
It's a bad idea. It's not going to work.
Why?
First of all, nobody's going to fire a loved one on the behalf of you doing that. I mean, it's just not going to happen. I wasn't.
No. You get 10,000 people to tweet at somebody.
I had more than that, and I'm not fired from anything. All I did was get a boost. So what they're doing is not even a thing they can really do.
Yeah.
Okay? Even because I'm going to go on Kumia's show before too long.
Who?
Anthony Cumia. He's back.
Oh, Cumia. Yeah. Cumia?
Whatever.
Why do you say it weird?
Who gives a shit how I said it? The point is, can you Jew it down a notch?
Kurt Metzger. Okay. Go ahead.
Say my name every time I bring it up. That's funny. Just want for the record, is Kurt Metzger saying this? Where Ant fucked up was the part.
Ant fucked up in his response. Everyone fucks up by responding. Let it lie.
But my response, I didn't fuck up, dude.
My whole point the whole time.
Let it lie.
I know, but look, my response, I didn't fuck up. I said the apology for the thing I should apologize for. The people that are against me still, no one cares. Right. Like people don't even care now. Us talking about it, there's not even a reason to talk. But
I heard there were some people on that feminist side. What do you call them? The angry feminists. Big sisters. That were like, well, he apologized, so it's kind of like he understands now. And they're like, too late. We should still try to get him.
There was a man who commented. He goes, "That thing he said can never be taken back."
And you're like, "What thing? What thing?
Say what
police? Thing? Say what thing?"
He doesn't know what I said.
Right.
No. It was the good. The thing when you go the good hole.
So what?
That's what he said.
Yeah, so what?
Sure, but that was a man saying that. It's unforgivable and can never be unsaid.
I mean, wouldn't you scream the loudest if you were hiding out as a rapist?
I found that a good definition of social justice warrior is someone who publicly wants to be seen fighting. So those are the people who write you personally and say, hey, just so you know, this is why it's hurtful. They make sure to tell everybody, I'm writing Kurt Metzger. Mm-hmm. They go period at Kurt Metzger on Twitter, so that everyone there can see it, and not
nobody
just
cared. Like I never needed to win them over. They were already against me.
Oh,
so the only people I had to listen, Cumia could have. Who gives a shit? He could have been, hey, if my black friends, I wasn't talking to you. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. You're not apologizing for the people who hate you. You're apologizing for people who like you that didn't understand what you were saying.
Right.
Okay. Your people already hate me. Go fuck themselves.
How did you feel when Schumer released those couple tweets? I'm saddened and disappointed by Kurt Metzger's actions.
I said, if you need to do that, I said, if you need to do that, do it.
But
Before
that
she did
wording.
it. Well, here's what's sad but whatever. I mean, we're tight, so nothing.
I know, but it seemed a little bit of a.
That's not bad on me. That's on her, because then when she tries to defend me later, they come. Oh,
I thought you're sad and disappointed.
Now they're mad. Now you like Kurt, and you're not fucking throwing him in a dumpster like we thought you were.
Yeah.
She didn't have to respond to them at all, but she had a book coming out.
I thought, but it wasn't. What was shitty, in my opinion, I understand you guys are cool, and I'm cool with her. I like her a lot, and I respect, admire her. However, I didn't care for the wording of that Charlie Rose interview, and she goes, Kurt's the problem, no doubt. I just thought that was so.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt's the problem with rape, with what?
I didn't hear that.
That was like intentionally
I didn't
vague
listen
and
to
too.
A little bit like, yeah. I know she pulled back a little bit, where she's like, he doesn't work for me anymore, and then they all thought they won, and she goes, oh, no, just we're off. We're not shooting right now.
We're
not shooting right now.
Technicality, and she goes, well, yeah.
All right, look, I'm going to defend her, A, because she bought Karen's plane ticket to the Emmys.
You always defend her.
Absolutely, I was defending her. B, I told her to do whatever she's got to do.
That's not what she had to do.
But also, in fairness, when you watch that Charlie Rose thing, she's so obviously uncomfortable with these questions.
Right.
She doesn't want to be saying this. Obviously.
She's in a weird spot, too, of like being this feminist icon.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Yes, go ahead.
It's not look, I don't think that was the right move on her part, but I forgive her for it, because I, first of all, up front told her, you have my permission to do that, and it's not going to make us a problem if you think it'll help you. Now, where it's an error in judgment is whatever publicist told her to do that.
Right.
Fucked up. Okay? Number one, Big Sister, who that was an appeal to, never respected her or liked her anyway.
They did for a while.
They're mad that she's successful.
They
and they're
were
not.
mad at her.
So for her even trying to placate any of them, she fucked up. But that affects nothing with me. Her spot's unenviable. She's had a book deal. Like, I'm not obligated to think about her when I speak. I don't work for her. Now, if I had been working for her, of course that's my thing. I got to keep in mind. But I'm not employed at all by them. So I just feel bad because she's my friend, and I.
Right. It sucks that she would have, like, if they came after me.
Right. But I'm not obligated. When I'm not working for you, it's my free time. It's just because I love her that I feel bad. It's not because I have an obligation.
It's the publicist's job to know that those people don't really want an apology, and that an apology wouldn't do the trick. Do you know what I mean? They don't, the apology solves nothing.
But see,
how do you feel when she does write that?
Harsh words shit. See, this is the thing. What me and Karen are saying now, even now, someone's going to be listening to your fucking thing, to your podcast, and it's going to go, oh, see, now he threw her. People know 3 words. They know meltdown, or they know threw her under the bus. They know these 5 phrases that they use for every situation that don't apply.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I'm saying this thing, even though I think it was a mistake on Amy's part, for herself, not for me, and I got nothing against, she's my friend, and there's no break in our bond.
Yeah.
Okay? Some idiot's going to be listening to your podcast, and they're going to take it, see, now he's backpedaling. Oh, that's the other phrase they know, backpedaling.
Backpedaling.
Because this world of cowards.
I like how backpedaling can't be like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if I have a thought and I change, I'm not running for president, dipshits.
Yeah, backpedaling is like, I never thought of it that way. Good point.
I know your listeners, you got a ton of like especially because you know Rogan, there's a bunch of these dudes, and I know you're out there because I have to talk to you. You're dumb as shit, and you talk in black and white, and you really got to stop because you're as bad as Big Sister.
But you know when they say like there's different language for men and women, like when a man wants to get ahead, he's ambitious, and when a woman wants to get ahead, she's cutthroat or whatever. You know, it's the same characteristic, but people say it 2 different ways. But that's exactly what they've done to you. They took an apology, which was an apology, and called it backpedaling.
Right.
There's 2 different paradigms of language for different people.
But see, I wasn't apologizing for any of my points. I was apologizing for, God forbid,
the tone that you made somebody victim.
You're a fan of me. You're a fan of me, and I say that, and you feel crushed. Which I talk to people who it hurt them. So if it was 2 or 3 people I did that to, it's worth them hearing it, or just hearing where I stand more clearly than me in a rage on Facebook. And by the way, I'm not on Facebook because I don't know you fuckers shit. I'm sick of giving out free entertainment. You can go buy a ticket, okay? And those are the people that were fans of me. Go buy a fucking ticket. I'm not obligated to entertain you on fucking Facebook.
How did you feel when Schumer did write that and all those, what'd you call them again?
Now I call them pigeons. I used to call them civilians.
When all the pigeons go, yes, we did it. For that brief moment.
Listen, at the time, everything felt shitty because I was just seeing outright things that, like, I'm a rapist. Which is crazy. I mean, people were writing to me, "Dear rapist." I'm like, so this is what it's gotten to?
Wow.
Okay? I mean, that's insanity.
And rape apologist, too. How did that feel when people were saying you're a rape apologist?
You have to understand, it's not bad. It's not... I've tried to speak to I have a friend online I talk to and try to explain her cult to me.
Yeah.
And it's just their cult term. They don't understand that it's clearly a moral judgment. They think it's just fine and dandy to label someone, but whatever. All these people called me up to support me, so I wasn't completely like
Floating.
But I don't take the shit personal now. I don't take anything online personally because it doesn't matter. So that's the big difference in me is I don't give a shit. So say whatever the fuck you want. You literally don't matter. If you say my name at all, you help me. Casey Anthony, if she played her cards right, would have a show on right now called Starting Over with Casey Anthony.
Wow.
It's that easy. So just so you know, Pigeons, you really got no fucking power. Anything I say is out of the goodness of my heart. You can't put pressure on me to do shit.
Yeah.
I haven't lost a friend. I haven't lost a job.
Let me say this clearly.
Yeah.
Just again. So the Pigeons are not anyone listening. The Pigeons are just the people who
What I
squawk.
used to call civilians.
But that's everyone listening.
Listen, any non-comic. Here's what civilians came from.
Yeah.
And it's everyone.
That's everyone.
No, if you fucking talk to me like you know stand-up comedy
Yeah.
as well as me, and this
Yeah.
is a bunch of you listening, because I know a bunch. I've seen it all the time with your little tweets and shit that you think you're insiders, and they've got all these opinions about you, Ari, and me, or fuck. And then they bring
Here's what
Louis,
should
then
be
they start
done in
bringing
stand-up.
Louis Gomez into it, like he's like, you know, like I'm speaking on behalf of the Gomites. Like, shut the like. You don't know any of us. I know you listen on the radio, and it sounds like your friends in the radio.
But you've never done
talking.
stand-up, so you have no right
But
to
you
say
got no
anything.
business telling me
You have
who's
no
a
clue.
hack.
You have no clue.
Because this would bother me, people attacking Amy. Oh, finally, I hate her because you hate something she represents, the same as what happened to me. Some other person hated something I represent. Neither one of you look at us as a real human. We're just like a projection to you. Go fuck yourself. You're a civilian.
Right.
That's why I brought the word civilian out.
So it's not
You're
anyone listening. It's just the people like
if
talking back.
You talk like you're a fucking insider to me, an almost 20-year veteran of comedy, and the nerve of you telling me who's a hacker, who stole a joke, like the joke police when they're this bullshit that Amy stole something from Patrice. Remember that whole thing, which I was very vocal defending her.
Yeah, very vocal defending her.
Listen, if I say she didn't, it means she didn't, because I'm the expert and you're the fucking pigeon. Got it, pigeon? Well, I listen to a lot of comedy. That's like telling a chef you can cook because you eat a lot of food. You don't know shit compared to me. Whatever your opinion is about the insides of how showbiz works, unless you're here doing it with me, you're a fucking pigeon. Enjoy your breadcrumbs, pigeon, and don't shit on my car. I don't even call you civilians no more. And it doesn't mean everyone but me. That means anyone who's got the balls to talk about my business as if they're an expert.
I saw you doing that with when they were fucking with Leslie Jones. When you were
Oh,
like, we
yeah.
were like, well, double standard. She can make fun of this and I
These
can't. And you were
scumbags.
like, yeah, you're not a
Dude,
comic. That's why.
They had the balls to put Patrice's headshot on their Twitter and tell me that I'm comedy policing. That's not comedy what you're doing. Burning a cross on someone's lawn on social media. That's not comedy. That's not what I do. Okay, the thing I'm in trouble for, I was on my own wall just saying an opinion. I wasn't trolling. I went into this on the show last week. It's like you're Al-Qaeda. The way the Big Sister has attacked the supposed patriarchy is like it's Iraq. And we're going to get rid of Saddam Hussein with no thought as to what replaces Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
And then they want to just you're part of the de-Baathification, they called it. Remember when George Bush put his moron friends?
Well, that's what I did this on a podcast once where he just said, anyone in the Baath Party, you're all fired. And they were like, oh, just so you know, we're all Baath Party because he made
Right.
us be Baath Party. So you're firing everyone qualified.
That's what they did. So that's all the white males they want to get and replace with some bitch from a taco truck. Okay, which is their dream.
Can we
Okay?
just say, what percentage of feminists do you think this is?
Of Big Sister types? I couldn't even hazard
You know
a
what?
guess.
But I'm a woman. I can tell
yeah.
you, it's the relative minority.
It
this
is.
is like the settlers in Israel. Like it's they're the loud squeakiest wheel,
The
but
squeaky
they're
ones.
a tiny
Wait, wait,
minority.
wait.
Like most women are
Wait,
rational.
let me finish this thought though. But that's a good point. That's a very good point. That's the thing. The people that back
They're the
me up
vocal
to
ones.
this were all rational women. So it's not anything against women, dude. But these guys that do this trolling, they're like what happened in Iraq. We fired all the Ba'ath Party, and then they became terrorists, right? And now they're ISIS. So now these insane people at Big Sister, in their zeal to attack the patriarchy, they created all these terrorists online who think they're freedom fighters. That's what every scumbag.
Oh, the males who then want to go back.
That's what all these males
who,
using
like
a fake
we feel
name-
attacked so much
Right.
that like now we got to attack back.
And if you're one of these guys, look at what happened to me, man. I'm still here. My career's fine.
because they've
It was
wanted to.
health.
So you're saying they've wanted to turn white. They say white males, you guys are too powerful. Let's victimize them a little bit, and then after they get victimized a little bit, they're like, well, yeah, now we're victims. Now we're going to fight back just like you did. You fought
act
back.
Like goddamn. And you know what? Why don't you be a man and just do your thing and show by example that you're in the position you're in because you're better. You understand?
Yeah.
Like some of these women writing shit like any woman could write better than Kurt Metzger. And Karen pointed this out.
Any woman can write better than a writer?
Which women? Like
Well, I
could name.
can think of like 10 women off the top of my head that would be great qualified writers. But
Not
there's
better than me,
never, no, qualified writers. But
Right.
there's never a mention
They
of
don't
another
say the
woman.
name.
They're not even, because
It's just women because they have no talent and they want to squeeze
this
in
is their personal ambition.
right under the umbrella.
Well, that's what
woman.
they always do when it's like we need a woman talk show host late night and it's bullshit.
Doesn't matter
I was
who.
like, what's like? Do you know who they went to? They went to like 7 of them.
Who didn't want? It's a shitty job. But,
Yeah, and so then it's
but
like
these
still
are-
get
but-
somebody. You're like get
but look,
somebody.
They don't know anything about show business or how it works. These are, as I
Right.
said, pigeons. And if you're a dude who's doing this shit, you're as bad as Big Sister. You're not any
Dude,
better.
I had someone come after us in a blog my first year of This Is Not Happening,
Yeah.
and said it's ridiculous. They didn't have any women on This Is Not Happening, and then my manager Sam, who's a producer, is a woman. She goes, we had 6.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, they weren't on the website. She goes, what website? We don't have a website.
What was
That's
it?
some fan-made website. They pointed out. And she goes, well, and then she addended her article. She amended
Yeah.
it to, okay, turns out there were 6, but there should have been more.
Oh no, they never fucking change. They never go back and just take it down. They've
That
done
one where Sarah
work.
Silverman's saying about she made less money than Todd Berry.
And that's bullshit.
And everyone's like, oh, is it guess set? That's still up. That
Yeah.
video is still up, trying to prove a point that they know is a lie.
Right, because this is
That
their job.
Levo or whatever.
Right. Because the opposite, reality being true, makes them irrelevant and unnecessary. They need the thing to keep going so that they can
And that's
stick
why
around.
certain people need me to be their monster. Because
Also, it helps that
if
you look.
I-
It helps you look like an oaf.
Right, but backpedaling in this idiotic thing of me just being a mature person who learns and grows doesn't fit this paradigm they're trying to create. Okay, so I'm not in with the trolls, and I'm also not in with
Do you know the song "Amazing Grace"?
what?
You know the song "Amazing Grace"? Amazing Grace,
Yeah,
how
what about
sweet is that? That was written by a slave trader, a former slave trader.
Yeah, of course.
And he was singing about how he now sees that he was wrong. I once was blind, but now I see.
What, to have slaves?
Weren't people
Yeah, he
just
goes,
mad
I
about this?
shouldn't be doing this anymore. I realize I shouldn't be doing. These are humans, and I'm wrong. And so he
Oh.
wrote a song about it. This beautiful song that lasted, centuries. Those squawkers, whatever you call them, the pigeons, they would not accept him. They'd be like, nope, we're writing you off forever.
Well, that's because
You cannot be
that's
an
because
example
the
of
new
change.
thing- listen, here's the thing that sucks the most about these supposedly woke people.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you do call yourself woke, you should be really put to sleep. I mean, you're just the biggest loser who ever lived. But their whole thing is not that they're going to be above racial prejudice. They just want an acceptable target to vent all their anger on. So a lot of people that have issues they haven't worked out personally, okay?
Yeah.
Instead of working on their problems, they want to have a piñata designation.
What do you mean?
They want, okay, right now white males are the piñata, and
Yeah.
I can, any evil impulse I have, I can feel free to vent at full
On
power.
any of them. Not
Right.
just the wrong ones.
Right.
Any of them.
And so now what happens is instead of having
Donald Trump, that guy, whoever.
just instead of you going case by case, just thinking nuance, I need a black and white feeling right now to make me feel better, and I can say you're this, this, and this, and stamp you as this.
Yeah.
And how dare you take that away from me by not being what I need you to be? But I
Yeah.
watched all sides do it, and that's what they tried to do with Amy. Amy's a fucking person who's my friend like anybody else,
Yeah.
who got thrust in a shitty position.
Did you?
And
Yeah.
it's hard to know what the fuck to do.
Yeah,
with that.
absolutely.
And that's why
Absolutely.
me
It's
and
like
her
heartbreak. It's like
friends-
heartbreak.
And whatever thing is, it's a mistake, and how
Did
she
you
handled it is water under the bridge, man.
Yeah.
Okay, she's still
She's still hiring you.
Pigeons don't come between me and my friends.
Did
My
you
friends
see
are my
any?
friends.
Did you see any other friends or slight friends come out against you pretty publicly? Did you see
No
any
one
of
who was
that?
a friend of mine came out against me.
You seen people who you kind of knew in the business, who you were friendly with? I see that a lot. Where guys that I know don't come up to me and say, "Hey, what's going on here?" They just go, "This guy's an asshole." I'm like, "Whoa, what? You're not going to ask me for clarification?"
No, it's only I mean, it could have been that I just didn't know if I saw it.
Right.
But I'm the problem. That's hysterical. Oh, Kurt's the problem. A man speaking his mind on his own Facebook wall has to be stopped. That's the
and not a
stupidity.
rapist.
I mean, it's utter stupidity. But listen, man, it's such a shitty position that these evil fucking pigeons dragged Amy into it when she's not responsible on any level for anything I do, nor am I to her. She was trying to sell a book, and they were trying to leverage her own fame against her. If they're really feminist, they should be proud of her, as I am,
For succeeding.
for succeeding, because I think she's very talented and deserved it, you know. And thank God it was someone who's talented and not. Usually they just push any fucking mediocre whatever.
It was very funny when I'll tell you why. I saw this thing once where Neil Brennan was on stage at the Comedy Store doing a joke about his black friends are giving him permission to use the N-word.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, some lady in the front patio was screaming at him with her boyfriend, black girl, black boyfriend.
Yeah.
He was just like, I'm waiting for the. Not interracial.
Yeah.
He was just waiting for her to be done yelling. She was screaming at Neil. Nothing gives you that right. You can't say that.
Right.
And he goes, one of her points was, he was like, well, other people use that. Like, it's just, I'm talking about the word. And she goes, no, like Dave Chappelle can do it. He's quite funny. And he goes, what do you mean? And she pointed to a sketch. And she goes, that's funny. And he goes, yeah, I wrote that.
What did she say to that?
She was like, what?
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, that sketch, I wrote that. I'm
Right.
a co-creator of that show. I wrote it. You had the same thing where a lot of people hated you and then pointed to Amy Schumer as a way to be. And then when you came out like, oh no, I write those things.
Right.
I'm her voice. They were like they didn't know how to handle it.
Every idiot pigeon with comedy thinks the star of the show writes the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't even know what the hell goes through some of your heads about how this shit works, but I even have I regularly have people writing me idiotic things. Dude, even Gavin, who's my friend, I love Gavin, dude. I really do. Gavin McGinnis.
Yeah.
Would write me idiotic shit about the show where I'm like, Gavin, do you know how show business works? What are you saying? Like, do you think I personally write every single line that you don't like or what? Like, I get how people don't get how this shit works, so they get giddy that they can talk to people who work on it.
Yeah.
But most of you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and you got no business even speaking on it.
Can I tell you this?
Yeah.
This is a nice thing. When this was all happening, and we planned the release order of all the YouTube videos for this not happening
that's great.
months and months in advance.
Yeah.
And then when this was all happening, I'm like, oh, Kurt, your video's coming out this week.
Oh, I know.
And it got more hits than I think.
Story, and you cut it good. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
No, it would have been lost if you hadn't called me. I saw what they were going to do to it.
Yeah, and the YouTube version was fucking perfect and long.
Dude, our YouTube version is great.
Yeah, and it got 200,000 hits in no time.
Yeah.
On a great thing. I'm like, whoa, it's good. That's what I mean in terms of like you're not hurt at all by it.
I want you listeners to understand this. That's all that they can do, these people. So you don't need to be a terrorist online. All they do is promote you. So just don't be a terrorist. Don't be a troll.
Yeah.
Don't be a goddamn racist at Leslie. What did she do wrong that she deserves that shit? Yeah. Besides have a job. Yeah. Go fuck yourself. You're not better than Big Sister doing that.
Even if you think it's just not funny, it's like, all right.
Should she say
so let
no?
some unfunny person be unfunny.
Like, what, she's supposed to not get the work? Up here on the left, buddy. Like, leave her the fuck alone, man. That's not cool.
I will tell you this. Most of the comments I get when people are mad at me say, I've never heard of this guy before, and now I'll never be a fan of his. And it's like, well, you were never going to be.
Yeah, and now you're mentioning
you're never going to be.
They're saying your name, so they are a fan.
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting out of the car now. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so that's it, Kurt. That's all the time we have. We're going to Race Wars right now. I'm going to be a guest on your podcast/radio show. Podcast.
It's full. It goes out radio first, then it comes out as a podcast.
Okay, so thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
I'm going to call this episode Rape Apologist.
Rapologist?
Rapologist. Rapunzel.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to promote?
October 4th.
Yeah.
At the Village Underground.
Yeah.
It's not the taping of my hour.
Yeah.
But my hour is called You're Making It Worse. Was before this all happened.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was a great
Your
title.
new hour?
Yeah, You're Making It Worse.
White Pressures is one of the best specials of the last 10 years.
So my new one's going to be called You're Making It Worse, and I'm running it at the Village Underground with Barry Crimmins and Annie Letterman.
Okay.
So that's going to be a good show.
Roommate?
October 4th.
October 4th, Village Underground.
Yeah, by the Comedy Cellar. It's going to be a fucking killer show, man. And please go online, get tickets now. And then, I don't know, I think I'm recording the hour sometime in December. And I got options for it. I don't know at this point if it's going out with, Comedy Central or Louis C.K.
That doesn't matter, as long as you do it.
Yeah. Well, Louis has a nice deal for me, so I might do that. But I don't know.
I'll talk to you about that. This thing's cool. I'll be at the Bell House in New York, as long as we're talking about it, October 18th, doing my hour that I'm recording in Austin.
Yeah.
November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
And check out Race Wars OPXM Radio tonight, 7 to 9. iTunes.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday, and then it goes up on SoundCloud and iTunes. So you can just get the podcast for free if you're not serious. Race Wars.
All right. Thanks, Kurt.
I can't get off of the Facebook. things behind my back. And just cause I'm online doesn't mean I got time to chat. So don't trip if I don't poke you back. It's probably cause I'm working on a dope new track. And don't be mad cause I don't accept friend requests. And I don't friend every friend that my friends suggest. It's a mess when you're still friends with your ex. Make it hard to forget and move on to the next. And online, can we move on to the sex? But can a guy at least get a call or a text? I'm vexed cause when it comes to friends I got quite a few. Not to mention the events that I'm invited to. So don't take offense if I don't reply to you. If you aren't on Facebook then this does not apply to you.
I can't get off of the Facebook.
I can't do it, no, I can't do it.
I can't get off of the Facebook. Got the matter on me. I can't get off of the Facebook.
I can't do it, no, I can't do it.
I can't get off of the Facebook.
And now you're probably like, who's this kid rapping on?
That's the episode. Oh, fuck me. Fuck me. I'm supposed to do Punch Drunk 25 minutes ago. God damn it. God damn it. Yes, I'm ready. That's what that fucking thing was. All right, you guys, that's the episode. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Karen. You guys, it's a tough issue. It's a fucking tough issue. Shit, I gotta tell him to call out. Yeah, it's I don't know, but I do know that Kurt Metzger's not the problem. I do know that he was taking a lot more heat than the actual rapist took. But I will tell you this. One of the talking points, one of the things that the left always says, that the liberals always say when this comes up, when any discussion about this stuff comes up, is they say that anything positive is that it breeds good discussion. It breeds discussion. But yet, all I've really seen is, if you have a dissenting view, you're made to feel like an asshole. It's never a good discussion, or very, very rarely. Very rarely does someone come in and say, hey, let me tell you why maybe what you're saying is not right. It's always like, fuck you, you're an asshole, let's string somebody up, figuratively, let's string somebody up. It's never about real good discussion. I'll quote you this. The one thing I remember hearing is somewhere, I think Miami University, some pre-law professor brought up after the Steubenville rape case, when that girl, it was horrible, the video, the girl was passed out, the guys from the football team were literally like not dragging her, she was off the ground, but they were just, her lifeless body, they were bringing into a room to rape her. And you see all these, in the video, I remember Rachel Simmons pointing this out in one of her blogs, you see other girls just not saying anything. And it's this weird position that women are put in to like keep your mouth shut. It's a horrible case. But this pre-law professor brought up, he goes, should there be a different punishment? I may have said this in the podcast before, but should there be a different punishment for rape when the victim is conscious versus unconscious? And because there's no memories associated with it. And man, they called for his job. They wanted that guy out of there. I brought this up in Keith and the Girl. I remember Keith saying, like, no, there's a time and place for everything. I'm like, yeah, but the time and place would be a pre-law class in front of, college-age students. That's the time and the place. That's it. And they immediately try to push him into this thing. It's like, same thing, rape apologist. You're saying rape should get less punishment. And honestly, all you got to say is, should the punishment be greater if someone was conscious? Should we make it even more of a punishment? Then they wouldn't jump on you as much. It's all slight wording. But all they're waiting for is a chance for you to say anything along the lines of, I'm not super anti-rape. So anything brought up is like, fuck you. And then people, all this fucking social justice warriors will say like, it's pretty simple. A girl says no, you don't do it. And it's like, yeah, man, obviously. Do we have to state that every time we have a discussion? Obviously. That's not what we're talking about. We're moving past that and getting to the next thing, which is, in Kurt's case, can we write somebody off on a rumor? Yeah, this discussion, it never breeds good discussion. It never breeds good discussion. It only brings hatred and antagonism. And these social justice, I finally found a good definition for social justice warrior. Because it struck me as like, well, there's nothing wrong with fighting for justice, for social like equality and fairness and people be able to live their lives in a normal manner. There's nothing wrong with that. What social justice warriors do is they do it very publicly. So they're not interested in changing people's opinions as much as they're interested in having everyone else know that their opinion is thus. So on Twitter, what you'll get a lot is, I don't know if you guys know this on Twitter. Here's how you can tell a social justice warrior. When they don't tweet at the person or send them a direct message or call them. I know I've had things. I remember Nikki Glazer once asked me, there was something, they were throwing me into an anti-woman category. And Nikki Glazer and Marina Franklin both came up to me and said, so Ari, what's going on with that? Privately, at the Comedy Cellar, each of them, different nights. And I explained it to them and they go, oh, okay, cool, satisfied. It was never like, hey, everybody, look at me coming out against Ari Shaffir. So what they'll do on Twitter is if you tweet at somebody, like if I tweet at, I don't know, whoever, anybody, and go at, Big J. Okerson, the only people who see that are the people who follow both me and Big J. Okerson, not just one of us. You have to follow both of us. Or you have to go through your, click on a different link to see all your at replies. So that's the only people that'll see that. So it's fun if I fuck with Duncan or something. I'll be like, hey, Duncan, you're an asshole. Or I'll write, hey, Duncan, you're an asshole. And if I write, hey, first, then everybody sees it. All my followers see it. And not just only the people who follow both of us, which cuts it down quite a lot. So what the social justice warriors do is they'll lead with a period. They'll go, period, at Ari Shaffir. What are you doing with this or that? And they're not interested in asking the question as much as they're interested in having everyone know that they're asking the question. That doesn't create change, doesn't change anyone's opinions. It's just you showing the most simple thing. And honestly, the weird thing is, all those bloggers that are against fucking rape culture, I got to get Lindy West on or someone like that to actually explain to me what rape culture is in a calm manner. I got to find out what it is. But all the people who write about rape culture, who shit on guys like Sam Morrill for making jokes, it's almost always the mainstream comics. It's the ones at the clubs, at the big clubs. The Factory, the Cellar, the Store. It's always that. It's always shitting on those comics who are making the jokes. And the weird thing is, the actual rapists in the comedy community in the last 10 years have come from the UCB. They've come from the alternative world. The people that are super against I'm pro, women's rights and pro equality. All those people that are real vocal about it, they're the ones, not all of them, of course, obviously, most of them not. But the real fucking predators come from that world. And none of them from the world of the mainstream. Kurt's right. They have this image in their heads of a story. And Kurt, this oafish looking guy who's very antagonistic and fucking strong-mannered male, and he's tall, he's 6'2", fucking big. He fits the fucking, prototype. He fits the story that's already been written. I have interviews sometimes with people who are writing about comedians that aren't interviewing me specifically, but are interviewing lots of comedians. And I hear them go, so do you get depressed a lot? And I've stopped interviewers before. I'm like, hey, listen, I've read this story before. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, the story that comedians are all funny, but really they're all depressed. You're doing a story about another story. That's not true. We get depressed at equal rates to everyone else. We're more in touch with it than some people because we're more in touch with all our feelings. But comedians are super happy all the time, for the most part. So this story, it's too typical, man. You just want to write a story that's already been written. And these people want to write a story about rape culture, and so they're like, cool, obviously the people that have a problem with it are the jocks. Not in comedy, you guys. It ain't that. That's not borne out by the facts. The facts are the ones that have done it. And I'm not talking about Bill Cosby. He's not part of any comedy scene. Nor was he ever a mainstream club comic. But the ones that are doing it are those UCB comics. In Beth Stelling's case and in this case, it's not the mainstream guys. So, bloggers, I'm asking you, do a little bit more work. Do a little bit more work and find out the real story. I mean, there's the same thing. I get it. You don't want to like string up an alt guy, but do a little more work. And comedians, when you hear a story or you see a headline saying Kurt Metzger's a rape apologist, you have a responsibility to the art form, to what you do, to not just say, yeah, that's wrong, but to go look for a possible way that was misconstrued. You really do. You got to look for like, okay, hold on. You're saying he's a rape apologist, but let me see maybe, because I know Kurt Metzger. He's not a guy that would just say rapists should get off. And that's what rape apologists mean, right? So let me kind of look and see if that's misconstrued and say, no, guys, he's not being a rape apologist. He's saying, maybe incorrectly, maybe not, that we should punish rapists. The law should come down on them more. Don't just take the side of the fucking headline. You're a comic, and they're writing about comedy. Fucking have some goddamn balls. And I'll also tell you this. The stuff I heard about how the UCB handled it, I had trouble playing there before because of the fact that they don't pay comedians. They say they don't pay anyone because improv doesn't make money. I'm like, what the fuck does improv have to do with comedians? We're not the improv shows. We're the comic shows, and those are packed. And I know they say we should be, my guys like Matt Besser say that we should be honored to play the UCB, and that's not true. No, we're not honored to play any club. But even if we are, then you're not honored, UCB, to have fucking Sarah Silverman show up and Zach Galifianakis show up. You can't pay people's fucking valet at the UCB LA or their fucking $5.50 subway back and forth to go do Whiplash in New York. Come on, man. Come on. Fucking pay people fairly. And I was going to do this thing where I was going to next time, because they said they can't afford it, I was going to do a This Is Not Happening show there. And I was going to say, fine, you guys take it $5. Take it $5. They charge $5 for a show. Comedians get none of that. I was like, how about this, though? I was going to say, how about I charge $20, because that's how much I charge for This Is Not Happening shows. And you still get your $5, and the other $15, I will split up with the comedians, as I do. When comedians do my show, they make upwards of $500 for an in-town set, because I pay people fairly. I believe comedians are artists, and if they're working hard at something and they're coming to help me fill up a room, they're actually helping me fill up a room with their presence and their hard work, then yes, absolutely, they deserve some of that money. Maybe I pay them too much. Perhaps I do. But maybe I'm making up for the UCB. I also don't want to make money off stand-up comedians. You know? I don't want my money coming out of their pockets. And I know some people say, what about the Photoshops for the... If I don't get the Photoshops, I'm still doing this episode. Those are just extra details. I don't want you working more than 12 minutes on those. If I wanted something super artistic that I could fucking sell on the road, I'll pay you. People who do my tour shirts, I pay them $500. I pay people, you guys. I pay people for their work. UCB does not. So I was going to do like, I'll charge 20, give you guys your 5. 75% split is a pretty good normal split for a club on an off night. On a Tuesday night, yeah, I should get 75, 60 to 80%, sometimes 100%. The Village Underground gives me 100% of the door on an off nights, on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're totally fair. And so I was going to do that. And then I don't know if they would have gone for it and said, fine, take your 5. I'm paying them the other 15. I don't know if they would have gone for it or not. I think they would not have, because there's a precedent it would set to fucking... I think they say like they're just against it in theory of paying comedians anything. Anyway, beyond that, I still would have tried to make it work with them, to try to force them to play by a normal standard. But after hearing how they handled this, the stuff they've done that I don't want to get into. I do want to get into it. That's a lie. I do want to get into it. But I can't out of obligation to Kurt. From hearing what they've done, I don't think I'll ever play there again. They're not going to feel that loss. But I don't want to be associated with a club that helps protect rapists. You know, I'm pretty vocal about shitting on the Catholic Church. And then some people come back to me, and like, you know, because of the child rape case. And some people come back to me and go, "Oh, what? So you don't think rabbis rape kids?" And I'm like, "Well, no, not as many, for sure not. But also because rabbis are married, they get the You don't have a lot of pedophiles disappearing into the rabbinate in order to say, cool, now I don't have to face these awful thoughts I'm having. You do have that in the Catholic Church. People have these terrible thoughts, and some of them not all terrible. You might just be gay, and then you're like, I don't feel comfortable being gay, so I'll join this group that won't let me have sex at all, and that way, I won't have to face these awful thoughts that I hate myself for. So gay, if you're raised, religious, that's definitely, you feel terrible about it. And if you're raised almost anyway, thoughts of pedophilia, you feel terrible about it. So I'll just join the Catholic Church, and then it'll go away. And then guess what? It doesn't go away. So when they have a priest cruise, that's just a gay cruise. By the way, I just realized right now as I'm saying this, the people who, in Game of Thrones, you know how they're when the Night's Watch, the guys who work on the wall between the north, those guys swore off sex. They're all fucking each other. If that was reality, they'd all be gay fucking. And if guys weren't into it, they'd be gay raping. For sure. For sure. It's like a prison. For sure. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh, so the problem is when a rabbi rapes a kid, and it has happened, the VOD, the ruling organization in the rabbinate, they don't protect that guy. They don't send him off. They don't take him from Boston and send him to St. Louis and say, oh, cool, problem solved. Now nobody's going to know he's gone, just to go rape someone else. That's not what they do. They report it to the police and they fire the guy. That's the Catholic Church. The people in charge of the Catholic Church have protected child rapists, and they have sent them off to do more raping. That's the issue. Not the evil that lies within somebody. That's just you were born wrong. That's just you were born wrong. You got that fucking pedophile gene. I mean, it sucks for you. It sucks worse for the kids. But it's the people protecting those people. That's the issue. And that's Catholicism. Popes have protected. Cardinals have protected. Bishops have protected child rapists and allowed them to rape again. That's the difference between rabbis and the Catholic Church. The UCB in this case is not much better. Ask them about it. They won't comment. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, I'll be at the Bell House in Brooklyn, October 18th. And then the End of the Road tour comes to a close. And we're doing, Hunt for the Edible. Comes to a close. And by the way, if you saw me when I was at Moon Tower, I'm not doing any of that material. That was stories I did on This Is Not Happening. So it's going to be new material. So come see me, you guys. Come be a part of the party for my special. I'm so fucking excited. I've never been this focused. I have never been this focused on any taping. 1, 2, 3. This is my 4th taping. Never been this focused. Not for Conan, not for any of my This Is Not Happenings. Oh, in terms of that, I've probably had like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is my 10th taping then. Oh, down and dirty. 11th stand-up type taping. Never been this focused. TJ Miller asked me recently, he's like, how'd yours go? I'm like, I haven't done it yet. But I'm like, but it's going to be great. I've just, everything I've done for the last 6 months has been just zoned in on this date. I'm excited. I just don't want to lose my voice. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the episode. Right? Did I just forget? Did I just get sidetracked? Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, blueapron.com. Don't forget blueapron.com/skeptic. Get 3 free meals right now with free shipping. If you go on there and use the code skeptic. 3 free meals, you guys. Free shipping. Try it. I'm telling you. I will take sponsors that I think have a decent product. And there are other sponsors that I want to use their product. This is one of them. I like Blue Apron. I enjoy cooking their meals. They're healthy. They're farm-to-table shit. I guess organic. I'm not really positive. It's just fucking fun to cook. And they give you all the exact... I know you can say you can just buy ingredients yourself, but you won't. You won't because you never do. It comes to your door in a freezer bag, a freezer box. It lasts for a day or two out there. Then you put it in the freezer, in the fridge, and then just cook the shit. It comes every week. You can delay it a week. The website's super easy to use, blueapron.com. Use the code skeptic, that's blueapron.com/skeptic, and you'll get 3 free meals with free shipping. Why not try it today? Thank you, everybody. All right. Next week, I guess I'll do... Got a couple in the can. I don't know. Oh, and This Is Not Happening starts October 13th. Get excited. October 13th, new episodes of This Is Not Happening. I can't believe I forgot to say that in the intro. I'll say it from now on. I'll start doing episodes every week to promote that. This Is Not Happening, October 13th at night, which is like Thursday night, 12 o'clock, right after at midnight. Everybody's favorite midnight show. That's now on at 11:30. So I'm on at midnight on Thursday. So set your DVRs now. Thursday night, October 13th / Friday morning, midnight Eastern. I guess it's 11 Central, whatever. This Is Not Happening. New episodes. I don't know who's on the first week, but Diaz is back. Brian Regan's doing it. Big J's back. Steve Simone is back. Oh, it's good. Good season. Good season. Aaron Berg's doing it. Ali Sadiq is back. Wore his Mexican Got On Boots shirt in Denver 2 days ago. I got offered to buy $40. I got an offer to buy it. Fuck you. Go buy it yourself. You should see it. The tag says, where is it? Oh, it's in my room. I think the tag on it for the wash and care, it says, wash with a, let me get this so I say it right. It's so funny. Whoever made it, fucking good job. Nope. Do not know where that is. All right, fair enough. It says something along the lines of wash with a, is it here? Nope. Wash with a toothbrush you stole from your celly and hang dry over your bunk. Anyway, it's going to be a great season. 10 episodes this year instead of 8. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you for Kurt Metzger and Karen Margolis. I'm Ari Shaffir saying so long for Skeptic Tank, episode 278, Pigeons.